Chapter 55-57 The space trembled, the law circulated, and Long Chen and others were already in a valley. At this time, they were completely in the Tianmai profound realm, even though they had vaguely sensed the aura and the laws of space here before. But after being in it, Long Chen found that the aura here is 1,000 times richer than the outside world, and the law of space is more solid. Standing between the heaven and the earth, as if sinking into the water, you can feel huge resistance when you raise your hands and feet. At the same time, Long Chen felt that the aura between heaven and earth was permeating his body. Bathed in the endless aura, Long Chen found that his energy was gathering involuntarily. At that moment, Long Chen faintly felt as if there was an invisible dragon hovering around him. Long Chen was taken aback. He had just entered the Tianmai profound realm, and there were signs of condensing the Tianmai dragon qi. Isn't this too easy? However, to the surprise of Long Chen and others, the void behind Tang Weiner exploded, and a transparent 3-foot dragon emerged. When the little dragon appeared, Long Chen exclaimed. It was obvious that Tang Weiner had condensed Tianmai dragon energy. As soon as the little dragon appeared, it revolved around Tang Weiner. When it circled around Tang Weiner, its aura instantly surged, and even its transparent body began to be filled with milky white energy. After another round of rotation, fine scales appeared on the body of the little dragon. After another round of rotation, dragon claws and horns were born. Except for the absence of eyes, it is almost the same as a real dragon. And with the change of Tianmai dragon energy, Tang Weiner's breath is also constantly changing. Her breath becomes more and more solid, and the coercion becomes more and more amazing. At the same time, the wind energy between heaven and earth is rapidly moving toward she gathers. Not to mention others, even Tang Weiner herself was stupid. Others said that it was extremely difficult to condense Tianmai dragon energy, but she didn't know what happened, so she condensed Tianmai dragon energy. Careful, just when people were astonished by Tang Weiner's Tianmai dragon qi, Yu Zifeng let out an exclamation and drew his long sword out of its sheath. Boom! There was a bang, golden light splashed, golden blood splashed, and a stench came over the face. Smelling that smell, Long Chen's face changed drastically. He shook his hand, and a fireball flew out, burning the golden blood into light smoke. Light smoke was flying, and those who smelled it felt dizzy for a while, and they couldn't help being shocked. This blood is poisonous. They are the strongest among the strong, and they react like this when they smell a scent. The toxicity is too terrifying. Buzz! At this moment, golden light shone, and countless fist-sized golden beetles waved their wings, like golden raindrops, coming from the depths of the dense forest. Run away, don't attack them, these are golden-armored soul-devouring insects, with poison sacs in their bodies and sharp teeth. They cannot be provoked. Long Chen yelled, calling everyone to run. When Long Chen waved his hand, a wall of flames appeared, blocking the path of those golden-armored soul-eating insects. Those golden-armored soul-eating insects seemed to be very afraid of the flames. As soon as the flames came out, they retreated immediately and then flew to the side, trying to avoid the wall of fire. Their speed was extremely fast, like golden meteors. A few golden-armored soul-eaters immediately bypassed the wall of fire and rushed towards everyone. Long Chen set up another wall of fire to separate those golden-armored soul-eating worms, and more golden-armored soul-eating worms gradually formed a golden ocean. Their speed is too fast, and everyone has just entered the Tianmai profound realm, and they are still unable to adapt to the power of space here, as if they are running in water. The faster they run, the greater the resistance. Seeing that this golden ocean is still growing, everyone's scalps tingle. Running like this is not an option. Collective attack, long-range attack. Long Chen suddenly yelled, and with Long Chen's order, everyone suddenly turned their heads, formed seals with both hands, and a series of wind blades cut through the void and slashed behind them. Puff, puff, puff. 30 million strong men shot at the same time. The wind blades were dense, sweeping across the universe, and the golden ocean was instantly chopped off. Countless golden-armored soul-devouring insects exploded, and golden blood mist filled the sky. And then people saw that a big hole was quickly corroded by the golden blood in the void. Long Chen didn't dare to fight. According to legend, these golden-armored soul-devouring insects are extremely difficult to deal with, and their leader is a huge female insect. The nests of the golden-armored soul-eating insects are somewhat similar to the nests of ants, and their lifestyles are also similar. These golden-armored soul-eating insects are all born of female insects. The reproductive ability of the female insects is amazing. As long as there is enough energy, it can continue to grow. The golden-armored soul-eating worms it gave birth to were its soldiers, which could help it hunt and provide energy. But when the energy is insufficient, these golden-armored soul-devouring insects are also the source of food for it to maintain life. The female worm of the golden-armored soul-eating beetle is violent by nature and will explode if threatened with death. Its death and self-explosion changed the color of all races, so no matter how powerful the race was, they were unwilling to provoke them. Although the female worm is the only one among the golden-armored soul-devouring insects that has an inner alchemy, and its value is amazing, but the chance of getting the inner alchemy is too small, because it will self-explode the inner alchemy and die with the enemy. The most annoying thing is that these golden-armored soul-devouring insects have no value to Long Chen, and such things cannot be provoked. Long Chen arranged several fire walls in a row, and finally isolated the golden-armored soul-devouring insects. The distance was far, and they finally stopped chasing them fiercely. However, before everyone could breathe a sigh of relief, a roar came, and bloody figures covered the sky. They were ferocious demon birds with blood-colored feathers all over their bodies and over 100 feet in length. They were so bloody that they roared like beasts. Long Chen had never seen such creatures. The most frightening thing is that the aura of these demonic birds is astonishing. Most of the tens of thousands of demonic birds are human emperor-level existences, and the rest are all terrifying god emperors. In Long Chen's heart, he called it a fluke. Fortunately, when there was no first-grade god emperor, a monster like a mountain, with 2 eyes like stars, appeared in front of everyone with endless killing intent. Nima. When Long Chen saw its huge body, his scalp felt numb for a while. It really didn't give him any chance to breathe. This is a terrifying first-grade god emperor devil bird, whose aura is stronger than that of the blood race's first-grade god emperor. It is a fight with the emperor of the evil stone spirit clan. To such a terrifying existence. The mouth of the first-grade god emperor-level demon bird suddenly opened, and a blood-colored vortex swirled rapidly in its bloody mouth. At that moment, the world was twisted, and the soul of a person would be sucked in by it, and it would amplify its moves as soon as it came up. Suddenly Tang Weiner stood in front of the crowd, the vision spread open, her hands formed a seal, and the just-born dragon chi of the heaven vein flowed rapidly around her body. Boom! With a loud noise, a blood-colored ball of light with a diameter of 100 feet spit out from the monster bird's mouth, and it charged towards the crowd carrying wind and thunder. Tang Waneria's hand seals flowed rapidly, and a transparent shield appeared in front of her amidst the roar of thousands of waves. When the shield appeared, the dragon energy of the sky veins beside her poured into it automatically, turning into a dragon vein totem. As soon as the shield was formed, the terrifying blood-colored ball of light slammed into the shield. At that moment, Long Chen's heart was in his throat. Chapter 55-58 Tang Weiner's shield has a huge range, but the shield is only 3 feet thick at most. Compared to the range of thousands of miles, it is as thin as a piece of paper. However, the moment the huge blood-colored ball of light hit the shield instantly sank. Long Chen was shocked, thinking that Tang Weiner couldn't stop the blow, so he was about to strike. However, the moment Long Chen was about to make a move, the rapidly dented shield suddenly tightened, and the huge blood-colored ball of light was thrown out like a projectile. Seeing this scene, Long Chen couldn't help being both surprised and happy. Tang Weiner's shield was originally a shield condensed with masculine power. And when the Tianmai Dragon Chi joined in, her shield turned soft in an instant, and the powerful pulling force removed the impact of the bloody light ball, and also kept the power inside the bloody light ball at a constant level. Wonderfully balanced, it didn't explode. What amazed Long Chen the most was that Tang Weiner bounced the ball of light away with her shield, and the ball of light flew straight to the first-grade God Emperor level Devil Bird at a faster speed. Boom! With a shocking explosion, the ball of light hit its chest fiercely, and its blood-colored wings exploded. At the same time, blood energy soared into the sky, and the blood-colored light spots surged. Laugh, seeing that the first-grade God Emperor level Demon Bird was severely injured by his big move, Yu Zifeng was the first to make a move and slashed out with a sword. Broken Wave, facing a first-grade God Emperor level Demon Bird, Yu Zifeng dared not hold back the slightest bit of his sword. The sword energy pierced the sky like a bolt of lightning and slashed heavily at the demon bird's throat. Boom! With a bang, the blood-colored iron feathers exploded, and Yu Zifeng cut a big hole in the throat of the first-grade God Emperor level demon bird. Blood splashed and dyed the sky red. What shocked Yu Zifeng was that the feathers of that first-grade God Emperor demon bird were as hard as iron and extremely flexible, and his sword was actually stripped of most of its power by its feathers. By the time it was cut on the flesh, the power had already started to disperse, so only a blood hole was cut out, but no line could be formed. The waving moon shocks the sky. Following Yu Zifeng's blow, Long Chen's keel was filled with black energy, and following Yu Zifeng's blow, it precisely slashed on the neck wound of the first-grade God Emperor Devil Bird. Boom! There was a bang, and the sound of bone cracking sounded. Yu Zifeng tore its skin with a sword, and Long Chen slashed at its bones. However, its bones were extremely hard. Long Chen's knife only shattered its bones, but failed to cut them off directly. "I'm going, this is too hard." Long Chen was shocked. In fact, this time, they made a mistake in cooperating. Whether it was Long Chen or Yu Zifeng, their attention just now was on Tang Weiner. They were afraid that Tang Weiner would not be able to withstand this blow, so their preparations were all about how to deploy defenses, but they never expected that Tang Weiner's blow would seriously injure that first-grade God Emperor level demon bird. Yu Zifeng cut out that sword instinctively. Originally, with Yu Zifeng's self-confidence, he thought that this sword could definitely cut off its neck. After all, it was already injured and its defense power was greatly reduced. And Long Chen wasn't ready either. Seeing Yu Zifeng's attack, he had no time to accumulate strength. In order to seize the opportunity, he had to rely on the strength of Dragon Bone Shiyue to slash. Seeing that he didn't explode the opponent's bones, Long Chen immediately regretted it. If he could charge up in advance and inject the power of the stars into it, he would definitely be able to chop off its head with one blow. However, the opportunity was too late to miss. The two teamed up and did not kill the first-grade God Emperor level Devil Bird, and the first-grade God Emperor level Devil Bird roared. Boom! After hearing the order, all the Devil Birds rushed towards the crowd like bloody shooting stars. Keep the formation intact, take care of each other, don't rush to kill the enemy, and fight steadily. Long Chen shouted. Although they have gone through so many trials and battles, the team is too large and it is very difficult to control it. Up to now, it is still a bit chaotic. If someone advances greedily, it is easy to cause the formation to be loose, and in this way, it is easy to cause casualties. If it was in the past, Long Chen naturally didn't care much about the life and death of these guys with eyes above the top, but now Long Chen knows that Tang Weiner is a boat, these people are water, and their strength is Tang Weiner's strength. Naturally, we must strive to ensure that none of them die. Although Long Chen knew that this was impossible, he could only try his best to reduce their deaths and maintain the cohesion and combat effectiveness of the team. Originally, some arrogances, relying on their own strength, saw such a terrifying demonic bird, and gave birth to a desire to win. They broke away from the formation, and after Long Chen roared, they immediately returned to the team honestly and fought against these demonic birds together with everyone. Boom boom boom. Although the demonic birds were terrifying, the Tianjiao of Fengshanhai Pavilion were all superpowers carefully selected. After several attacks, they found that with the combined efforts of everyone, these demonic birds could not cause fatal damage to them. At this time, they realized how powerful the collective power is, especially those extremely conceited arrogances. Only then did they realize that unless you are as strong as Long Chen, Yu Zifeng and Tang Weiner, you will not want to survive. And acted obediently with everyone. Boss, what's the strategy? After Long Chen finished drinking, he stepped into the void, and the person rushed out like a flash of lightning. Yu Zifeng shouted hastily. I have already made a mistake just now, and I must not make another mistake. The strength of this first-rank God Emperor is not weaker than that of the second-rank God Emperor leader of the evil Stone Spirit clan. Although he was severely injured, no one can guarantee it. Does it have a secret method that can recover quickly, or temporarily suppress the injury? What kind of tactics do you want? Just use the damage move. While Long Chen was speaking, he had already rushed in front of the first-grade God Emperor level demon bird. The demon bird was still in an upside-down state. Seeing Long Chen rushing, his claws grabbed at the void. Boom! The void was punched through a big hole, but Long Chen put away the Kiel Shiyue, as if frightened, and avoided the blow with a slight difference. Long Chen, don't worry, we have enough strength to deal with it, don't take any risks. Tang Weiner could not help screaming when she saw Long Chen rushing over like this, as if he was about to fight this huge monster. Because neither she nor Yu Zifeng are suitable for close combat. If Long Chen fights with it, the two of them will be completely useless. It means that Long Chen will fight it one-on-one, which is too dangerous. What kind of risk do you take? It's all said to be a bad move. Long Chen yelled, and suddenly a black pill appeared in the palm of his hand. With a shake of his hand, dozens of pills shot out like lightning and landed on the wound on the neck of the devil bird. Chi. When the black pill touched flesh and blood, green smoke rose immediately, and the demonic bird let out a heart-piercing howl, and the violent sound wave directly sent Long Chen flying. Chapter 55-59, Boom. That first-grade God Emperor level devil bird kept smoking from its neck, and its flesh and blood rotted rapidly. It struggled frantically, but it was of no avail. At this time, it seemed to be delirious, twisting its body rapidly, the ground was constantly shattering, the air waves were billowing, and the space was constantly being torn apart. The scene was extremely terrifying. Boss, have you been poisoned? Seeing this scene, Yu Zifeng couldn't help feeling his scalp go numb. What kind of poison is this? Even a first-grade God Emperor level devil bird can't bear it. Long Chen chuckled and didn't speak, but his eyes were full of shock. At this time in the chaotic space, under the heavenly Dao tree, the mysterious ancient vine was slightly wilted, and it lost a leaf at this time. And those pills just now are refined from its leaves, not so much refining, as it is the purified essence, because it is not an elixir. This idea was given to Long Chen by Qiankuan Cauldron. When he learned that Long Chen wanted a leaf from it, the mysterious ancient vine directly cut off a leaf and gave it to Long Chen. Yao Yue Ding was responsible for the purification, refining these pills in an instant, and even Long Chen didn't expect that these pills had such terrifying toxicity. Boom! Suddenly there was a loud noise, and the first-grade demon emperor-level demon bird suddenly stopped moving, its vitality completely disappeared, and it was unexpectedly poisoned to death. Seeing this scene, even Long Chen couldn't help but gasp. Originally, he planned to cooperate with Yu Zifeng and Tang Weiner to kill it in one blow after it became weak to a certain extent, but he didn't expect that this leaf, it actually poisoned the first-grade God Emperor-level existence to death. Puff! Long Chen swung a knife and slashed at the monster's neck. A large piece of flesh and blood flew out, but the devil bird remained motionless, obviously completely dead, not pretending to be dead. Long Chen came in front of it and stretched out his hand to throw its huge body into the chaotic space. When it fell into the chaotic space, the wilting mysterious ancient vine trembled slightly. Endless black energy flew out from the demonic bird, rushing towards it, and then Long Chen saw that the place where it broke off the leaves soon grew new leaves, and the growth of the leaves was extremely fast, almost in the blink of an eye, it returned to its original appearance. The power is not wasted at all, it has all been recovered? Long Chen couldn't help being surprised and delighted when he saw this scene. The power of this mysterious ancient vine must be too heaven-defying. The mysterious Gutton didn't lose anything, but there was an extra corpse of a first-grade emperor in the chaotic space. Long Chen originally wanted to break open the corpse to see if it had inner alchemy and crystal nucleus, which is an absolute treasure. But if the inner alchemy and crystal nucleus are taken out, the quality of the corpse will drop rapidly. It is better to let the black soil swallow them together. Long Chen glanced at the heavenly Dao tree and found that the heavenly Dao tree hadn't changed much, and it didn't produce a first-grade God Emperor level destiny fruit. The battle was not over yet. After Long Chen threw the corpse into the chaotic space, he was ready to join the battle with a knife. However, Long Chen found that at the moment his mind sank into the chaotic space, most of those devil birds had been killed. Tang Weiner's jade hand ejected continuously, and a series of tiny wind blades shot out, hitting the head of the devil bird. Their terrifying defenses could not stop the tiny wind blades. They were instantly pierced and died immediately. Yu Zifeng brandished his long sword, one sword at a time. Except for the first-rank God Emperor, the other monsters couldn't resist his sword chi at all. If it was normal, Yu Zifeng and Tang Weiner would not make a move at all, and would hand over these devil birds to everyone to practice. But this is the Tianmai profound realm, and the surrounding situation is unknown, so the battle must be resolved as soon as possible to avoid attracting more monsters. The Tianjiao of Fengshanhai Pavilion are equally astonishing in strength. Throwing away their fear and competitive spirit, they cooperate and they already seem to be in good shape. Even Long Chen nodded secretly. It is not easy to maintain a formation of 30 million strong people to this level. The potential of this group of people is very amazing. Puff, when the last devil bird was beheaded back and forth, in just half a stick of incense time, the battle was over, and the efficiency was very high. It can be said that this is the first battle of the Fengshanhai Tianjiao with all their strength. After all, this time, they are facing either the human emperor or the God Emperor level powerhouse. Under the tremendous pressure, they are making rapid progress and growth. The temperament of them now and when they first came to Fengshanhai Pavilion has undergone earth-shaking changes. Even if Tang Weiner and Yu Zifeng didn't take action, they could still kill this group of terrifying demon birds. At most it would just consume some more energy and time. Seeing such a terrifying devil bird being killed by everyone, and none of the 30 million strong people died, this is simply a great honor for them. At the same time, they also tasted the sweetness of teamwork and mutual cooperation. At that moment, they, who never knew what tacit understanding and team spirit are, finally understood how powerful the collective power is. This battle completely established their confidence. Long Chen stretched out his hand and collected all the corpses into the chaotic space. Looking far away, Long Chen found a high mountain and immediately led everyone to touch it. Here, the law of space makes people uncomfortable, and the power of the soul will be greatly restricted and it will be difficult to reach far. Even if you can use your spiritual sense to detect it, the scene that is detected is distorted and meaningless at all. If it is not done well, it will alarm those terrible creatures hiding in the dark. For them now, the safest way to detect is to use their eyes, but if they want to see farther and learn more about the surrounding situation, they need to find a commanding height, then identify the direction and find the target. Weiner, you have condensed a heavenly dragon energy, the wind force is strong and soft, and you have the strength to single out a first-rank emperor. However, under the protection of Senior Xinyue these years, your perception and insight are far inferior to those in Tianwu continent. The next time you face a terrifying strongman, you need to immediately judge the opponent's weakness and strike out for surprises. Even if the judgment is wrong, you still have to try. You can't test it a little bit, you have to get back to the original state as quickly as possible. While walking, Long Chen transmitted voice to Tang Weiner. Tang Weiner nodded obediently. She also knew that this was her greatest weakness and she had to correct it. In the past, she followed Long Chen and struggled on the verge of death. Under the pressure of death, she developed keen insight and judgment. But this power, with the advent of easy life, they fell into a slumber, and now, it is time to wake them up. When facing that first-grade God Emperor level demon bird, she had a premonition that she could defeat it, but she couldn't figure out how to kill it within a few moves. If it was in the Tianwu continent, when she sensed that the opponent's strength was not as good as her own, several strategies for quickly killing the opponent could clearly appear in her mind, but now her mind is a mess. Long Chen, are you going to separate from us? Can we accompany you to find Emperor Dao Nilin? Suddenly, Tang Weiner realized something was wrong. At this time they had come to the halfway up the mountain. Long Chen shook his head. He was about to speak. Suddenly the whole mountain shook. Chapter 55-60. There is a demon on the mountain. Long Chen and others were startled. The whole mountain trembled, and then a biting monster aura shot up into the sky, and there was a big monster lurking on the top of the mountain of emotion. Boom! With a loud noise, the mountain exploded, and countless flying rocks rushed towards this side like meteors. Evil animal, suppress it for me. At this moment, there was a loud shout, and fiery divine splendor descended from the sky, and huge flaming swords fell from the 9 heavens. Boom, boom, boom. The huge lightsaber pierced the top of the mountain, forming a huge flame prison, blocking the entire mountain. What a terrifying power of fire! Tang Weiner was startled. Why does this voice sound familiar? Yu Zifeng was taken aback. Long Chen slapped his thigh. Damn, this voice is not the one who claims to be the son of Brahma, but the one called Brahma. Called Brahma? Tang Weiner had a good memory and called out his name right away. Yes, it's him. Damn it, it's really narrow. The brothers and sisters in Fengshanhai Pavilion listened to the order, retreat, maintain formation, and don't arouse this guy's alert. Zifeng, Weiner, let's beat him up. Long Chen gave the order directly. When they heard that Long Chen was going to deal with the son of Brahma, everyone was very excited, but when they heard that Long Chen wanted them to retreat, they suddenly felt extremely uncomfortable. But they also knew that Long Chen was doing it for their own good. They were obviously not qualified to participate in dealing with the son of Brahma, and joining the battle would only be a disservice. Xiaoye and other hidden dragon fighters were also a little unwilling, but they knew that if they were strong enough, Long Chen would never let them miss this level of battle. Although they were unwilling, they could only obey the command. They swore secretly that they must work hard to improve, otherwise they would not even be qualified to fight side by side with Long Chen. Everyone maintained their formation and retreated slowly, while Long Chen, Yu Zifeng, and Tang Weiner took advantage of the violent fluctuations in the space and flew forward quickly without worrying about being discovered. Boom, boom, boom. The whole mountain trembled crazily, ripples spread from the top of the mountain, the void collapsed in a large area, and the endless avenue runes were forcibly crushed. Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbers, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org Source app. Good guy, this power of qi and blood is probably only possessed by a second-rank god emperor powerhouse. Seeing the terrifying ripples, Long Chen couldn't help being startled. This guy is actually able to deal with second-rank god emperor level powerhouses. It seems that his strength is very terrifying. Tang Weiner said with a shocked expression. The 3 rushed forward rapidly, and when they were approaching the top of the mountain, they saw a horrifying scene. 36 swords holding the sky pierced into the ground, forming a flame prison with a radius of tens of thousands of miles. In the flame prison, an evil dragon was tied up. This evil dragon has 2 wings on its back, but it has 3 heads. Its demonic aura is soaring to the sky, and its coercion is violent. One can tell at a glance that this is a monster above the second-rank god emperor. Its aura is very strange. It is said to be a monster and has the aura of a monster. It seems to be a hybrid of the two. The 3 heads continuously spewed out flames, thunder and frost, madly attacking the flame cage. On the ground, hundreds of millions of flame runes lit up, forming an extremely complicated magic circle. No matter how the dragon struggled, it was still unable to break through the flame cage. And on top of the flame cage, a man in white with black hair fluttering and his hands in mudras. From a statue behind him, endless power of faith surged out, controlling the entire flame cage. The man's face was dark, and his face was full of pockmarks, and there seemed to be black dirt in each hole. His face was not symmetrical from left to right, not only ugly, but also a little scary. When Long Chen saw this person's ugly face, his heart trembled. Long Chen knew that the pockmarks on his face were not real pockmarks, but runes. A human race, imitating the monster race, turned the power of life into primitive runes, covering the whole body. This is a typical sword slant. Evil animal, it is your honor to be the mount of this seat, dare to struggle? The ugly-faced man's hands were knotted, and the pockmarks on his hands and face were wriggling, like larvae inside insect eggs. Tang Weiner's scalp felt numb and goosebumps arose from seeing it. Tang Weiner can be regarded as someone who has seen the world, but this is the first time she has seen such an ugly person. It seems that this guy set up a trap in advance and then launched an attack. He wants to subdue this evil dragon. Yu Zifeng said. Long Chen nodded. From the rune circle on the ground, it can be seen that this guy started to arrange it very early. With this position, if you concentrate, you should be able to perceive the battle that Long Chen and others just had. Obviously, this guy's thoughts are all on the dragon, and he has no time to pay attention to the surrounding situation. However, if this guy succeeds in subduing a second-grade God Emperor level monster as a mount, he may be really invincible among the powerhouses of the same level. Boom! The two-headed dragon was enraged, it roared, and the three heads no longer crazily bit the cage. On the wings, endless runes lit up, its originally huge body expanded rapidly, and the flame cage was squeezed by it and began to deform. This two-headed dragon has a bad temper. Before he struggled a few times, he went straight to his life. With this big move, he will either explode the cage or explode himself. Yu Zifeng couldn't help but said in surprise when he saw this scene. Naughty animal, do you think you can escape from the palm of this seat? Being valued by this seat, you cannot survive or die. There is no other way but to surrender. Fan Tianda saw the two-headed dragon. He would rather die than surrender, sneered, and changed the seal of his hands. Immediately afterwards, the sound of sacred and solemn chanting resounded through the heaven and earth, and what he recited was the Great Brahma Sutra. Boom! As Brahma recited the Great Brahma Sutra, the temperature of the whole world began to rise rapidly, and the flame runes of the heavens and worlds, like hundreds of rivers converging into the sea, rushed here and poured into the flame cage. The two-headed dragon let out a roar, and its rapidly inflated body suddenly stopped expanding, as if there was a leak somewhere, and it screamed in anger. This guy uses the power of flames to consume the power of his blood. This will become a war of attrition. I'm afraid this two-headed dragon will really be subdued by him. Seeing Fan Tianda's confident appearance, Tang Weiner said solemnly. As soon as they entered the Tianmai profound realm, their eyes were opened. There was actually someone who could subdue a second-grade God Emperor level monster. The joy of killing a first-grade God Emperor level monster with everyone's joint efforts just now disappeared. Boss, if this guy fights with that evil dragon within an hour, his vitality will definitely be seriously injured. At that time, Yu Zifeng said. But Long Chen shook his head and said, we don't have time to wait for him, I'll meet him first, and you guys will fight for me. Call. As soon as Long Chen's voice fell, people rushed out. Chapter 5561. Hi, kid, how are you? Long Chen stepped into the void, and the people had already rushed out, and he did not forget to greet Fan Tianda enthusiastically. With that appearance, outsiders would think that the two of them knew each other when they saw it. Fan Tianda was taken aback. Although he was conceited, he needed to be very energetic to deal with this terrifying dragon, and he didn't find Long Chen approaching. Don't be afraid, I will help you. As soon as Long Chen appeared, he immediately showed extreme enthusiasm and rushed directly to the flame cage. Go away, don't get in the way. Brahma shouted loudly. Obviously, he didn't know Long Chen at all, and he didn't even know that the guy with a smirk in front of him was his target. He also thought that Long Chen came to help specially to please him. He had seen a lot of people like this. Is it shameless to give face? I want to help. Do you still have the right to refuse? Long Chen turned his face faster than he turned a book, and at the same time he rushed towards the huge cage, he slapped the giant blade that held up the sky with a big hand. Court death. Seeing that Long Chen stretched out his hand to slap the flaming giant blade directly, a sneer appeared on Brahma's face. This flaming giant blade was so tough that even a second-grade God Emperor-level monster could not be opened, and now it has the blessing of the great Brahma Sutra, no one can destroy. If Long Chen took pictures with his bare hands like this, he would be turned into ashes by the terrifying power of the flames. However, just as Fan Tianda sneered and waited for Long Chen to turn into flying ash, a dragon-shaped pattern suddenly appeared on Long Chen's big hand. Boom! With a muffled sound, Long Chen's big hand just slapped on the huge flame blade. However, Long Chen didn't suffer any damage, but the entire flame cage trembled violently. What? Fan Tianda's face changed, and the moment Long Chen's big hand touched the flame cage, the entire cage trembled suddenly, and the radiant brilliance dimmed instantly. Fan Tianda was horrified to find that the power of the flame cage was rushing towards Long Chen, and Long Chen was frantically extracting the power of the flame cage. Buzz! Long Chen's big hand trembled, and the dragon-shaped pattern in his palm turned wildly, forming a huge vortex. At the same time, Huolinger in the chaotic space formed a large formation of flames, and crazily injected the power of the flames absorbed by Long Chen into the ancient Fusang tree, and the ancient Fusang tree gave all the essence to the sleeping golden crows. The golden crow eggs were stimulated by these flames, and the runes around them slowly lit up. Obviously, the pure power of the flames was also a good thing for them. Court death. Fan Tianda was furious. The statue behind him lit up, and the flame runes between heaven and earth poured into the flame cage crazily. The originally dim flame cage lit up rapidly, like a huge sun. Yo, don't accept it? Let's compete. Long Chen sneered when he saw that Fan Tianda was competing with him, and the flame rune in his hand exploded. At that moment, the light of the flame cage dimmed again. Brahma was so angry that his nose was crooked. He could see that Long Chen was a fire master, and he came to make trouble for him on purpose. However, he had to maintain the flame cage, otherwise, once the evil dragon escaped, all the previous efforts would be in vain. He could only desperately maintain the flame cage, and he couldn't deal with Long Chen at all. Seeing Fan Tianda gnashing his teeth, Long Chen said with a smirk, "Hey, kid, are you constipated? Your face is so red? Why don't we give you a question and relax?" Question: It takes 3 hours to open the water inlet to fill a pool, and 1 hour to open the water outlet to drain the pool. Ask: When the pool is full, open the water inlet and outlet at the same time. How much water is left in the pool after an hour? Hearing that Long Chen didn't forget to tease Fan Tianda at this time, Tang Weiner couldn't help laughing bitterly. This guy is simply too bad. It's really sad to be his enemy. Go to hell, dare to spoil my big business. You just wait for the extermination of the family. Seeing that Long Chen still had the mind to ask him a question, Brahma was so angry that his 7 orifices were smoking, and he gnashed his teeth and cursed. Cut, it's up to you. Whether you can walk out of the Tianmai profound realm alive is still unknown. Long Chen couldn't help sneering. Who are you? There is a way to report your name. Brahma said angrily. My surname is Long, and my name is Yichen. Friends on the road all call me Third Master Long, Long Chen said proudly. You are Long Chen? Brahma was startled. He never thought that the person he wanted to kill was right in front of him. If it's fake, wow, kid, how can you be distracted at this time? Then I'm not welcome. Long Chen chuckled, and suddenly he used his big hand to grab it. His 5 fingers were like hooks, and the flame blade collapsed into a large piece by Long Chen's grasp. With Long Chen's surprise attack, the giant sky-lifting blade trembled suddenly, and then endless cracks appeared. Cracks appeared on the giant sky-lifting blade. Under the chain reaction, the entire cage shook wildly. Not good, Fan Tianda's face changed drastically. The moment Long Chen announced his name, a flaw appeared in his mind. Long Chen seized this flaw and destroyed the formation. Although it is only a small damage, you must know that there is a terrifying giant imprisoned in the magic circle here. Roar, the evil dragon had been suppressed all the time and was in a rage. When the pressure was released, it immediately seized the opportunity, and the power of qi and blood exploded. Boom! With a loud bang, the huge flame cage shattered, countless flame runes flew, and the 3-headed dragon finally broke free. Xiaolonglong, bite him for me. Long Chen was blown away by the terrifying air waves, and when he flew upside down, he didn't forget to cheer up the evil dragon. Boom! I don't know if the evil dragon understood Long Chen's words, or was about to kill Brahma. The three big mouths opened at the same time, and the three gods gathered together, forming a twist, spinning out, and going straight. Brahma shot away. Not good. Seeing this, Fan Tianda's face turned green with fright. As soon as the dragon broke free from the cage, it went all out, not giving him a chance to breathe. Fan Tianda formed seals with his hands, and a divine map emerged. The divine map opened, the sun and the moon were shining together, mountains and rivers were endless, covering the sky and the sun, blocking him in front of him. The divine map was Brahma's divine map. Different from the Brahma god map that Long Chen had seen before, in the endless mountains and rivers, there was actually a person sitting cross-legged in it, and that person was Brahma. Boom! When the dragon's attack collided with the divine map, the originally elegant scroll instantly became straight. Inside the scroll, the mountains and rivers deformed, the sun and the moon flickered, and the entire scroll continued to expand. Obviously, this Brahma divine map also has its limit. Fortunately, the limit of this Brahma divine map just blocked the full blow of the evil dragon. Seeing this scene, Fan Tianda secretly wiped off a cold sweat, but before he could breathe a sigh of relief, he saw a sneaky figure coming to the side of Brahma god with a smirk on his face, holding the big black knife, with its sharp tip, ruthlessly pierced the corner of the Brahma god picture. Keel Zayu's blade pierced the Brahma god's diagram, black breath poured in, and the power in the Brahma god's diagram instantly became unbalanced and expanded rapidly. Hold the grass, Shiyue, didn't you say, let it vent? How did it become like this? Seeing this scene, Long Chen was startled and ran away. Boom! Long Chen just ran a few steps, and there was a shocking explosion behind him, and the Brahma divine map exploded. Long Chen, Brahma, and the evil dragon were blown away by the terrifying air wave at the same time. Chapter 5562. Seeing that Fan Tianda used the Brahma divine map to resist the full blow of the three-headed dragon, Long Chen planned to take the opportunity to attack Fan Tianda himself. As a result, Long Guxia told him that the power of the Brahma divine map had reached a critical point. As long as a small hole was opened for it, its breath would leak out, and its source of spirit would flow out, which was the original power of the Brahma divine map. That is a great tonic for Long Guxia. It's just that what it didn't expect was that the power of the three dragons was too great, and the Brahma god map was like a ball that had swelled to the extreme. Piercing a small hole, it exploded directly. The terrifying power is enough to destroy the world. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Long Chen waved his big hand, and the Yaoyue cauldron emerged and enveloped him. Boom! Long Chen hid in the Yaoyue cauldron and escaped, but Brahma and the evil dragon were miserable. Brahma spurted blood, had a splitting headache and screamed. And the evil dragon had just unleashed the strongest blow, and was in a weak state. The moment the Brahma divine map exploded, it was thrown out, the scales in front of it were shattered, and the flesh and blood were all blurred. Wow, what a pure energy! Yao Linger fought for the first time to help Long Chen resist the terrifying attack, but she found that after the Brahma divine map exploded, endless energy danced, and her spirits were lifted immediately, and the runes all over her body lit up, greedily absorbing the terrifying energy. Save some for me. Seeing Yao Linger crazily sucking, Keel Shiyue couldn't help shouting, and directly got rid of Long Chen's big hand, pierced into the void, and absorbed the energy scattered between heaven and earth. The Brahma divine map exploded, and its energy essence was crazily devoured by Yao Linger and Dragon Bone Shiyue. At that moment, they couldn't care about Long Chen, because if they didn't absorb it quickly, the energy essence would be consumed by this party. The world absorbed it. Long Chen was still flying backwards. At this time, a huge tail swept past him. It was the tail of the three evil dragons. At this time, it was shocked and fainted. Boom! Long Chen stretched out his arms, hugged the tip of its tail suddenly, shouted loudly, and pierced his arms. On the arms, endless stars flowed, and the three-headed dragon's body like a mountain was dragged by him. Boom boom boom. Long Chen dragged the giant, rushed forward, and headed straight for Brahma. Fan Tianda Brahma divine map exploded. It was his natal divine weapon, and it would grow together with his growth. When he condensed the dragon energy of the sky, this Brahma divine map could truly grow into the strongest divine weapon. Now it was blown away by Long Chen. Countless years of painstaking efforts were ruined. At this moment he was going crazy. He let out a thunderous roar, waved his big hand, and a silver-white long sword emerged, and the vast power of the gods was stirred. However, just as Fan Tianda sacrificed his weapon, he saw that the whole world was darkened. Bite him, Long Chen stopped drinking, dragged the huge dragon, used it as a weapon, and smashed it at Brahma. Before Fan Tianda was ready to make a move, the huge body of the dragon smashed towards him like a meteor hammer. Boom! Brahma let out a roar that shook the sky, and hurriedly resisted, but was hit hard by the giant dragon. With a bang, the mountain exploded, and the flying sand and rocks stirred up, forming a huge mushroom cloud. Fan Tianda was slapped into the ground aggrievedly. After this fall, the giant dragon woke up from the coma, and saw Fan Tianda climbing up from the mud pit at a glance. Roar! Its eyes turned blood red in an instant, and the three heads glowed at the same time, in three directions, left, middle, and right, and rushed towards Brahma at the same time. Brute! Seeing the 6 blood-red eyes of the evil dragon, Fan Tianda's face turned green, and he yelled at him immediately, and he didn't know whether he was cursing the evil dragon or the guy in black with a smirk on his face. Brahma's shield, seeing the 3 heads coming at the same time, Fan Tianda put away the silver long sword, and made seals with both hands. The statue behind him moved to the front of him in an instant. With the big Brahma statue as the center, a huge shield was stretched open. Boom! With a loud explosion, the dragon's 3 heads exploded at the same time, and Fan Tianda's shield also shattered, and the person was blown away like a meteor. "I'm going so ruthless?" Long Chen was also taken aback. He didn't expect that the dragon's temper would be so violent that it would launch a suicide attack. It was clear that it was going to die with Brahma. Obviously, this evil dragon has been suppressed for too long because it has the blood of a monster, so its intelligence is not high, and under the rage it does not care about the consequences. Xiao Longlong, you are so innocent and kind, and you have nothing to do with the world. But today you have met with unforeseen disasters and died at the hands of treacherous people. It is simply unacceptable. You can go at ease. Third Master Long will avenge you, and I will use this guy's head as a sacrifice to your spirit in heaven. Long Chen put the dragon's body into the chaotic space with a look of sorrow and indignation. With a wave of Long Chen's hand, the dragon bone Shiwei in the void was received in Long Chen's hand like lightning, and fell with a single blow. Take your life having just experienced that terrifying shock. Long Chen's energy and blood were surging at this time, and he couldn't use his strength at all, but he knew that Brahma's virtue at this time would only be worse than him. When Fan Tianda heard what Long Chen said to the dragon's corpse, he was so angry that his lungs would explode. He had never seen such a shameless and evil person in his life. Seeing Long Chen slashing at him, he forcibly condensed his scattered breath and slashed out the long silver sword in his hand. Boom! There was a bang, and Brahma's blood spurted wildly. As Long Chen expected, his situation was worse than Long Chen's. At this moment, 2 figures flew out at the same time, and the 2 long swords pointed at Brahma, with fierce killing intent, which made Brahma's hair stand on end and his back felt chills. He didn't expect that there were 2 terrorist masters hidden here. When the 2 of them shot at this time, he instantly smelled the danger of death. Those who made the move were none other than Tang Weiner and Yu Zifeng. They had been waiting for the best time to make a move. Seeing that the time was ripe, they did not need Long Chen's call to make a move directly. Long Chen and Fan Tianda fought hard, their throats were sweet, and a mouthful of blood almost spewed out. At this time, Long Chen, like Fan Tianda, was very embarrassed. Everyone had no time to condense visions, and there was no chance to burst out with full strength, because the timing did not allow it. Long Chen forcibly suppressed the churning blood in his chest, poured the power of the stars into the Keel evil moon, stepped on the void, and rushed towards Brahma like lightning. 3 people in 3 directions, with fierce killing intent, changed the color of the universe, and at this moment, Fan Tienda fell into the place of death in an instant. Want to kill me? Just dream. Seeing the 3 of them attacking at the same time, he couldn't avoid it. Fan Tienda's face was ferocious. He gritted his teeth, and there was an extra talisman in his hand. When the talisman appeared, Long Chen's face changed drastically and he shouted, "Retreat!" When Tang Weiner and Yu Zifeng saw the talisman, they also felt that something was wrong, and when they heard Long Chen's shout, they retreated quickly without even thinking about it. Boom! With a bang, the talisman was crushed by Fan Tienda. With a bang, the divine power surged, the void exploded, endless fragments of time and space flew, and the violent power tore apart the universe. Chapter 5563, Boom Boom. Tang Weiner and Long Chen seemed to be hit by a hammer, and Long Chen spat out a mouthful of blood, while Tang Weiner's divine light circulated around her body, naturally forming a protective divine light. However, the divine light was shattered by the terrifying ripples as soon as it was formed. Tang Weiner let out a muffled snort, and then flew backwards. Tang Weiner was not injured with the divine light protection. She was horrified, and hurriedly looked at Yu Zifeng. Yu Zifeng couldn't bear such terrifying power at all. In the void, divine light shone brightly, and an ancient bronze cauldron with a strange aura emerged. It was the Yaoyue cauldron. Inside Yaoyue cauldron, Yu Zifeng came out. His eyes were full of astonishment. The accident just now happened too fast. If it wasn't for the protection of the Yaoyue cauldron, Yu Zifeng at this time would have been crushed into powder by the terrifying ripples. Crack! Long Chen patted the dust on his body, spread his hands, and said helplessly, "I knew it was the result." In fact, Long Chen had a premonition when he made a surprise attack on Brahma. It would be difficult to kill this guy today. "What is that?" Tang Weiner asked in horror. "On that talisman, there is the will of Brahma, and it is very likely that it was written by Brahma himself. The Brahma has been in a state of recuperation since the Chaos War, and it is impossible to have time to write talismans. That talisman should have been left behind by Brahma before he was injured." Long Chen said, "Isn't that a talisman from the era of chaos?" Yu Zifeng said, "It should be. After experiencing the erosion of the power of time, the power of the talisman seal has seriously declined. Otherwise, we would all die from the blow just now." Long Chen said, "It's really powerful." Yu Zifeng couldn't help but said, "This time, everyone made a hasty move, and no one tried their best. Hee, it's a tie. It doesn't matter. Next time, we will deal with him." Long Chen said with a smile. Although he didn't kill Brahma, but robbed his magic beast, ruined his plan, and severely injured him, I guess this guy will be very angry. Anyway, everyone still made money. However, I have to say that this Brahma virtue is really strong, and his life-saving cards are definitely more than these. The silver long sword in his hand was astonishingly powerful, but it never showed its due power from the beginning to the end, and even the runes on it didn't have time to activate. However, Long Chen was not afraid at all. The stronger the enemy, the more he would fight. Only a strong opponent would make him stronger. At this time, the soldiers from the Fengshanhai Pavilion led by the Hidden Dragon Legion arrived, and they all saw the terrifying battle just now from a distance. Although the battle between Long Chen and Fan Tienda was just a few tricks, and neither of them showed visions, but the power of destroying the world made their blood boil. Looking at Long Chen and the others, their eyes were filled with fanaticism and admiration. To be with such a peerless powerhouse, it would be hard not to become stronger. "Weiner, can you feel the summoning?" Long Chen asked. Tang Weiner nodded. Long Chen looked at Yu Zifeng, who also nodded. In fact, when they were still in the abyss, they already felt the strong meaning of calling. After entering the Tianmai profound realm, the meaning of summoning was affected by the law and began to become weaker, but they could still perceive the location of the summoning. Then let's split up and act separately. If you encounter an irresistible enemy, you must not force it, and leave the green hills without worrying about no firewood. Long Chen said, "Don't worry, boss. Yu Zifeng nodded. Tang Weiner also said, "Don't worry, I won't be reckless. After all, I am not alone now." Set off. The three of them exchanged a look, and Tang Weiner led the Fengshen Hage army and galloped away. Yu Zifeng also galloped away in different directions. Only Long Chen remained on the mountain alone. After waiting for a while, Long Chen couldn't bear it any longer. "Senior, are you asleep?" Long Chen has been waiting for the Chaos Dragon Emperor to give instructions, but the Chaos Dragon Emperor has been silent. "Sleep on your head? You have more than one chance to be here. How can I help you? If I ask you to go directly to get my reverse scale, you may miss other treasures, even if you don't miss other treasures. But the order in which you obtain the treasures will also affect your future. I can't see through your future, so how can I give you random ideas?" The Chaos Dragon Emperor said angrily. Then where am I going now?" Long Chen was confused. "Your life is always in your hands. Don't be like a puppet, led by others. You go according to your perception. If you completely deviate from the route, I will help you to correct it, and I will definitely guide you to that place. But if I fix it, it will affect the cause and effect. If you find it yourself, you will not be contaminated with the cause and effect at all. Do you understand?" Chaos Dragon Emperor said. "Understood," Long Chen nodded. The meaning of the Chaos Dragon Emperor is obvious. You can find the best by yourself. If you can't find it, it doesn't matter, he will guide you. Moreover, according to the tone of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, he had more than one chance in the Tianmai Profound Realm, so Long Chen completely let go. Long Chen took a deep breath, put aside all distracting thoughts, and felt with his heart. He wanted to determine his direction through the power of summoning. However, Long Chen found that in Tianmai Xian, there were noisy voices from all directions, which made him upset and unable to calm down at all. "Forget it, let's go." Long Chen really couldn't feel the meaning of the summoning, and galloped away in a direction that ran counter to Tang Weiner and Yu Zifeng. "Master Chao, Long Chen. You who killed 1,000 swords, my only god talisman seal, just disappeared, and my divine map." In a valley in the Tianmai Profound Realm, Brahma, covered in blood and with disheveled hair, roared like a beast. Brahma used the divine talisman. Even if he is the son of Brahma, he only has one. That was the talisman seal written by Brahma himself when he was young. It is not only amazingly powerful, but also has a huge room for growth. But in order to save his life, Brahma had no choice but to use it. The moment it exploded, even in the space law of the Tianmai Xuanyu, he was teleported out. "I hope you don't die, I will tear you to pieces with my own hands." Fan Tianda yelled up to the sky. The voice was like the roar of a wild beast, with bloody killing intent. "Achoo!" While galloping, Long Chen suddenly sneezed. "Damn, is that bastard scolding me?" Long Chen thought he had too many enemies. He couldn't figure it out at all. He kept walking and galloped forward. Boom! Suddenly, the front was filled with blood, and a beam of light rose into the sky. "Wow, the strange treasure is in this world?" Seeing the divine light, Long Chen's eyes immediately lit up, his legs swung like wheels, turned into a streamer, and galloped away. Chapter 55-64 Long Chen rushed forward and crossed a high mountain. In front of him was a deep valley. In the deep valley, countless figures were surrounding a huge skeleton. The skeleton was a head, and the head alone was tens of thousands of miles long. There were 2 horns on the head, and the skin had rotted away. It was impossible to tell what race it was. However, from its terrifying aura, it can be judged that this is a creature from the era of chaos. The creatures of the chaotic era, after countless years, the skeleton can still be preserved. It seems that the origin of this demon skull is absolutely amazing. And between the eyebrows of the demon's head, there is a square red boulder inlaid. On the boulder, countless blood-colored runes circulate, and the blood-colored beam of light is emitted from it. It's a good thing. The appearance of the blood-colored boulder shocked even the Qiankuan cauldron. Buzz! At this time, countless creatures surrounded the huge head. They stretched out their hands, and thin blood-colored threads pulled the blood-colored boulder, trying to pull it out from the forehead of the head. Long Chen looked at those creatures. They had wings on their backs, dark red hair, and a strange aura. They were neither human nor demons. Long Chen had never seen them before. However, judging from the berserkness of their aura, it is clear that this is not a group of good people. There are millions of people in this group of creatures. Above the void, there are more than a dozen powerful men with blood rushing to the sky watching outside. The rest of them are trying to pull the boulder out of the head. When he decided that these people were not kind, Long Chen was not polite, and rushed directly to the huge head. Stupid human race, you are asking for your own death. As soon as Long Chen rushed to the front, he was discovered by the group of creatures. The vision behind a creature was stretched, and the blood was soaring, and the sharp claws grabbed Long Chen. This is a master of terror. He grabbed it with one claw, and the void collapsed, forming a huge vortex, which blocked Long Chen's direction at once. At the same time, 3 other strong men came from around. Obviously, they did not intend to let Long Chen leave alive. 8-star battle body, open. Long Chen stopped drinking. The divine ring opened up the sky and the earth. The sea of stars covered the sky. The power of the stars exploded to the extreme in an instant, and he punched out. Boom! With a bang, the vortex was shattered by Long Chen's fist, and the shadow of the fist pierced through the vortex, rushing to the creature in an instant. Puff! That creature, before it even had time to react, was blasted into a blood mist by Long Chen's fist shadow. Long Chen passed through the blood fog and came straight to the area blocked by the group of creatures. The group of creatures roared, and they suddenly opened their mouths, and hundreds of millions of divine lights shot at Long Chen like sharp swords. With a wave of Long Chen's hand, the Yaoyue cauldron appeared, and the others hid behind the Yaoyue cauldron, pushing the Yaoyue cauldron forward. Boom, boom, boom. Those blood-colored lightsabers cut through the void and were extremely sharp, but when they were cut on the Yaoyue cauldron, they were like tickling. The Yaoyue cauldron is a replica of the Qiankuan cauldron, but this counterfeit is endowed with divine power by the genuine product. Coupled with Yao Linger's control, its power is astonishing. The endless bloody lightsabers were shattered one after another, but they couldn't stop the Yaoyue cauldron from moving forward at all. The Yaoyue cauldron was like a shooting star, rushing straight towards the huge head amidst the whistling. Seeing that Long Chen was unstoppable, the dozen or so creatures roared angrily. They stood together, forming seals with their hands, intertwined with bloody chains, forming a big bloody net in the void, blocking Long Chen's front. The breath of the blood race. No wonder they are so annoying, they should be a branch of the blood race. When these dozen or so people broke out with all their blood power, Long Chen finally recognized their blood fluctuations. At this moment, the Yaoyue cauldron collided with the huge scarlet net. It must be said that this group of people were very smart. They saw the unstoppable power of the Yaoyue cauldron and chose to use softness to overcome rigidity. The blood-colored net kept sinking, and the impact of the Yaoyue cauldron was constantly weakened under its depression. When the blood-colored net was sunken to the extreme, the impact of the Yaoyue cauldron was also exhausted. Spin! Just when these people thought they blocked the Yaoyue cauldron and were about to work together to close the net, Yao Linger let out a cold shout, and a circle of runes around the Yaoyue cauldron lit up, forming a ring. At the same time, the Yaoyue cauldron spun rapidly stand up. Puff! The straight bloody web broke like a spider's thread, and a big hole was forcibly spun out by the Yaoyue cauldron, and it broke free instantly. Breaking through the barrier of the big net, Long Chen had already reached the top of the huge head. Looking at it at this moment, Long Chen couldn't help showing a strange look on his face. The huge stone was square, like a turning head, embedded in the brow of the skeleton. Long Chen can't control so much. Since the Qiankuan Ding said it is a good thing, it will naturally be in his pocket. Long Chen opened his hand, and thousands of thunder chains shot out, enveloping that huge head in an instant. Rise! Long Chen stopped drinking and pulled with all his strength. Boom! With a bang, the huge head was pulled off the ground by Long Chen, and the moment the head flew off the ground, the creatures surrounding it spurted out a mouthful of blood, and their hands stuck to the boulder the chains shattered. Kill! Seeing Long Chen pull up the huge skull, these creatures were panicked. They roared and brandished their weapons, and rushed towards Long Chen like a tide. Ka ka ka. The huge head was pulled off the ground by Long Chen, but it was extremely heavy. Long Chen wanted to put it into the chaotic space, but the thunder chains were rattling. If he wanted to put it into the chaotic space, he needed some time. At this time, those creatures roared and killed, and Long Chen had no choice but to temporarily put down the huge head. Boom! With a loud explosion, the huge head fell to the ground, and the whole world was shaken for a while. Puff puff! Long Chen put away the Yaoyue cauldron, held the dragon bone Shiyue and slashed wildly with a knife. Although these creatures are sturdy, their weapons are not powerful. The dragon bone Shiyue is like cutting tofu. Cut off together, and instantly blood rained all over the sky. The keel of Shiyue is unmatched in its sharpness, and with one cut, it will be a large piece, and with one strike, the range of hundreds of miles will be emptied in an instant. After only a few slashes, the strong man in front of Long Chen was emptied. Seeing how terrifying Long Chen was, these creatures were so frightened that they ran away desperately. Long Chen forced these people back without entanglement with them. He opened his big hands, and countless thunder chains fell down, and tied them to the huge skull on the ground again. Suddenly, Long Chen realized that something was wrong. A creature was standing on the red rock, endless blood forming a strange ball under his feet. He made seals with his hands and chanted strange spells in his mouth. A bad feeling immediately rose in Long Chen's heart. Long Chen shook his hand, and the endless thunder chains instantly changed direction, like thunder dragons, attacking that person. The man suddenly stopped chanting the mantra, looked up at Long Chen, and a gloomy smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Want to take away my evil blood god's seal? Just dream, you idiot of the human race, die. Boom! At this moment, Long Chen's thunder chains attacked, and on the red rock, countless runes wrapped the man, and Long Chen's thunder chains hit the runes, and they exploded. What? This time it was Long Chen's turn to be surprised, but the scene that shocked him even more appeared. The moment the thunder chains shattered, the man and the red boulder under his feet disappeared together, leaving only a single huge head. In the middle of the skull, there is only a huge dent left now. Boom! Just when Long Chen was in a daze, suddenly there was a sharp pain in the back of Long Chen's head, as if he had been hit by a hammer. Long Chen's eyes were filled with gold stars, and he flew out. Chapter 55-65 Long Chen was attacked, but there was no sign of vigilance beforehand, which made Long Chen startled and angry. The moment he was hit, Keel Shiyue slashed back. Laugh, the void was torn apart, but no one was seen at all, and Long Chen couldn't help being shocked. Stretching out his hand to touch the back of his head, it was hot, blood had already been seen, and the whole head was smashed into a drowsy state. Fortunately, Long Chen used the power of the stars to the extreme before. If not, this time, it is very likely that his head will be smashed. Will you be invisible? Long Chen was shocked. Without even thinking about it, the Keel Shiyue swung rapidly, and the shadows of knives slashed down, but there was no movement in the void. Boom! The moment Long Chen stopped swinging the knife, the back of his head was hit hard again, and Long Chen's eyes stared at gold stars again. Under the severe pain, Long Chen roared completely. Boom! A thunderball exploded, instantly covering a space of tens of thousands of miles. However, this blow did not force out the invisible guy. Long Chen was shocked and angry. He had never seen such a strange phenomenon. Hoo! In order not to be attacked again, the keel bone in Long Chen's hand, Xieyu, waved wildly, and the wind and rain were impenetrable, and at the same time he shouted at the Qiankuan cauldron, "Senior, come and help. I'm not strong enough now to perceive its position." Qian Kuanding said. Then what should I do? This weapon is too evil, I can't find its location, so I can only be beaten. Long Chen shouted. I'll teach you a way which requires our cooperation to catch it, but we only have one chance, listen carefully. Hoo! Long Chen frantically waved the keel evil moon, the strong wind roared, the void was cut open continuously, and the momentum was extremely terrifying. Call! Suddenly Long Chen retracted his knife, and the thunder wings appeared behind him. The moment Long Chen stretched the wings, he felt a warning sign in his heart. This time, he finally sensed something strange. Suddenly the Qiankuan cauldron appeared and covered Long Chen's head, and it had just covered Long Chen for a moment. Boom! With a bang, a red brick appeared and smashed hard on the Qiankuan cauldron. Puff! The moment it hit the Qiankuan cauldron, the hand holding it was violently blasted, and then the figure of the creature was revealed. Fuck you! Seeing the horrified face of the creature, Long Chen gritted his teeth angrily and slapped him. Boom! The huge force directly slapped the man's head, and this slap directly slapped the man to death. And when that brick was knocked on the Qiankuan cauldron, the lit runes around it instantly dimmed, and there was no trace of life anymore, as if the spirit of the weapon had been shaken to death. Hurry up, inject a new weapon spirit into it while the original weapon spirit just died. Qiankuan Ding shouted. Xiaotung, come here. Long Chen immediately thought of the Xiaotian who had been sleeping in the chaotic space. It was the weapon spirit of the world-shaking seal. Now its chance finally came. The sleeping Xiaotian, before he understood what was going on, was directly injected into the red brick by Long Chen with the power of his soul. On the Qiankuan cauldron, a divine light lit up and poured into the red bricks. It was helping Xiaotian to control this new body. Buzzing! The red brick flashed 3 times in a row, and Long Chen held the red brick in his hand. At that moment he finally felt Xiaoshen's soul wave, and Xiaotian finally mastered the new body. Let it rest in peace. You'd better not use its power now, which will benefit its growth, but you don't need to look for it. You will be able to control this guy in a few hours. Qian Kunding said. After inquiring, the Qiankuan cauldron told Long Chen that this red brick was a very evil weapon, and it was also a well-known existence in the era of chaos. However, its reputation is all infamy, and everyone is scolding which wicked guy with smoke made such a wicked weapon. The lethality of this weapon is not strong, but it has a very annoying ability, that is, it has a different dimension and can be invisible in place. Moreover, when it is invisible, it hides in a different dimension, and attacks from the real world cannot threaten it. The ancestors of those creatures just now had mastered this weapon, so they knew how to control this divine weapon. The easiest way to quickly awaken this divine weapon is blood sacrifice, but they can also use the power of blood to awaken it at the smallest cost. And this red brick was left in the Tianmai Xian realm, parasitic on the brow of the skeleton, attached to the power of the skull, and resisted the erosion of time. In fact, its weapon spirit has long been weak, otherwise, it would have been awakened by those people long ago. Before, because no one was fighting for it, they could spend a little time to wake it up. Later, Long Chen came and killed countless strong people. The man simply activated the technique of blood sacrifice, so he woke it up immediately and activated its invisibility power. Fortunately, Long Chen's head was hard enough to not be knocked off. Damn, it hurts me to death. Mentioning that the head is hard enough, Long Chen touched the back of the head, still in hot pain, and there were signs of bleeding. Even the healing power of the chaotic space seemed to be contained by some kind of force. This thing is called the evil blood god seal in this generation. It had many names before, and I can't remember it. However, the name is very appropriate. This thing is an evil weapon, and it sucks blood. After you were wounded, it sucked part of your blood essence, but your bloodline is so strong that it can't suck much. This is not a bad thing. Even a drop of blood to recognize the master is avoided. There is the power of your essence and blood in its body. Xiaotian is connected with your soul, and soon, you will be able to take it to shoot others. Think about it, isn't it cool? Qiankuan Ding said with a smile. Hey, what do you mean by that? Damn it, these 2 blows are worth it. Thinking of hitting someone with a brick, Long Chen was instantly elated. This kind of boring feeling of hitting someone with a brick seemed to be more refreshing than slapping someone face to face. Okay, from today onwards, you will be called Xieshue Fantianyan. Long Chen laughed, and directly changed the name of the evil blood god seal. At this time, Long Chen felt that his head didn't hurt anymore, his eyes didn't hurt, and his whole body was refreshed. He could be as excited as he wanted. At this moment, Long Chen looked at those creatures. At some point, the group of creatures had all run away, leaving only some corpses on the ground. As for these corpses, Long Chen didn't bother to accept them. These creatures were strong outside but weak in strength. It is estimated that they have no other strength. They all rely on the evil blood heavenly seal to live. Without it, this group of people is nothing. Even if their bodies were thrown into the black soil, it wouldn't generate much energy, and Long Chen didn't bother to waste that effort. Long Chen touched his head. Although it still hurts a bit, the wound has begun to heal. The Xieshue Fantian seal recognizes the owner, and its remaining laws can no longer hurt Long Chen. I'm going to try the effect. Long Chen laughed and rushed forward. Chapter 5566. The birth of the ancestral soldiers is destined to make our clan rise like a comet. In the new era, there must be a place for me. A creature is holding a strange divine ring. The light of the divine ring lights up the sky, and endless chaotic air flows. Obviously, this is a divine object. Around the creature, countless clansmen cheered crazily, and some even burst into tears with excitement. Boom! Just when everyone was excited, a big hand in the void, holding a red brick, slammed on the back of the man's head. The man was beaten to the point of bleeding, and the Tianmai dragon chi wrapped around his body could protect his body, but was almost smashed away by a brick. With the bricks in hand, I own the world. Snapped, another big hand stretched out, grabbed the divine ring, and disappeared in an instant. Seeing that the divine ring was taken away, these people suddenly went crazy. The divine soldiers surged, their spells pierced through the void, and their berserk attacks covered the entire sky in an instant. However, under the large-scale distortion of the void, there was no figure of the person coming, and the divine ring disappeared without a trace. Long Chen's figure appeared above the void, and at this moment, he was already far away from the group of creatures. The evil blood overturning heaven seal is simply invincible. Long Chen held the overturning heaven seal in his right hand and the god ring he had just snatched in his left hand. At this time, Xiaotian has just taken control of this new body. Currently, it can only have two abilities. One is spatial invisibility, and the other is teleportation. These two abilities are the easiest to control. Otherwise, the guy before would not be able to use the evil blood seal to knock Long Chen's head so quickly. As for other runes, Xiaotian can't use them for the time being. Xiaotian is still too weak and needs a certain amount of time to grow. This thing is useless to you, throw it in. Qian Kuanding said. Long Chen sensed that the power contained in this god ring needs special blood to activate it, and it is really useless to him. Long Chen directly threw the divine ring into the chaotic space, but as soon as the divine ring entered the chaotic space, it exploded with a loud bang and was slashed by Dragon Bone Shiue. Buzzing, the divine ring shattered, and the divine light surged. At this moment, Qiankuan Ding, Yaoyue Ding, and Dragon Bone Xie devoured the divine light one after another. In that divine light, there is the original power of the era of chaos, which is a great supplement to them. Leave a copy for Xiaotian, the Qiankuan Ding shouted. The divine light of Qiankuan cauldron trembled and sent out a divine light, which instantly poured into the Xieshue Fantian seal. Long Chen obviously felt that after the Xieshue Bantian seal absorbed the power of the divine light, his breath suddenly became solidified some. At the same time, a hint of luster appeared on the dry surface. Dabu, time is a treasure. Long Chen, hurry up, the next one. Long Gu Xie tasted the sweetness and began to urge Long Chen. Long Chen found that after the Qiankuan cauldron, Yaoyue cauldron, Dragon Bone Shiue, and Xieshue Fantianyan divided up the power of the divine ring, their aura changed significantly. Although Yu Linger didn't say anything, judging from her excited soul fluctuations, she knew that this thing was extremely important to her. Seeing them so excited, Long Chen was also very excited. Qiankuan Ding, Yaoyue Ding, Dragon Bone Xie, and Fan Tianin are all his strongest trump cards. To improve them is to improve yourself. Roar, shocking roars erupted in the distance, and a group of creatures with wings on their backs and longbows in their hands were frantically besieging a golden armored dragon. the light of the divine bow flowed, and feathered arrows pierced through the void, and shot fiercely at the golden-armored dragon. These creatures are so demonic, slender, and there are only a few million people, but all of them are masters of masters. Every feathered arrow shot turned into a flying rainbow, piercing through the void, and the power of destruction changed the color of the sky and the earth. The most frightening thing is that among the millions of powerful people, 1/10 of them have condensed the dragon energy of the sky vein and become a heavenly sage. As for the first 3 people, 1 man and 2 women, they all condensed 2 Tianmai dragon auras. With the blessing of Tianmai dragon aura, their auras became even more astonishing. Boom, 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 boom. Feathered arrows surged and shot at the golden-armored ground-moving dragon, making a loud explosion, but the whole body of the ground-moving dragon was covered by the golden armor, and the arrows fell on it, sparks splashed, but they couldn't bring it any harm. Real hurt. The golden-armored ground dragon was besieged and let out a terrifying roar, but it didn't chase these people. It seemed that it didn't dare to leave its place. Wow, I'm actually an acquaintance again. At this time, Long Chun poked his head out to watch in a dense forest on a high mountain. When he saw a woman among the leading 3, Long Chun smiled. That woman was none other than the woman from the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix clan that Long Chen and Yu Zifeng met when they were teleporting in a demon clan's territory when they returned to Fengshanhai Pavilion. And these people in front of her are all her clansmen, but at this time, she is countless times stronger than at that time. Her body is surrounded by 2 dragon energy, and the 2 original real feathers above her head are shining. Even if her breath is Long Chen, she feels great pressure. What surprised Long Chen the most was that next to her was a man wearing a golden crown, a golden belt hanging from his waist, and holding a golden longbow. This person is also a Shuangmai heavenly saint. Although he just attacked casually and did not summon a vision, Long Chen felt the tremendous pressure he brought to himself. How can this group of guys condense the Tianmai so quickly? Long Chen couldn't help being surprised. Of course it will be soon. They are the inheritors of destiny, and the 3 of them account for less than half of the family's luck. Qiankuan Ding said. Long Chen suddenly realized, no wonder Tang Weiner condensed Tianmai dragon energy so quickly, it should be for this reason. Seeing that they had condensed 2 heavenly vein dragon cheese, Long Chen felt that Tang Weiner should have at least 3 heavenly vein dragon cheese condensed at this time. The woman from the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix family could not pose a threat to Long Chen at all, but after condensing 2 dragon energy from the sky, Long Chen felt a lot of pressure. This shows that the power of a Tianmai dragon energy will bring about earth-shaking changes to people. Roar! The gold-armored walking dragon was constantly being attacked, and finally it became furious. With a roar, its limbs slammed on the ground, and its huge body rushed out like a bolt of lightning. Seeing such a clumsy body with such an astonishing speed, even Long Chen was taken aback. However, the moment the golden-armored dragon rushed out, Long Chen saw at a glance that its original location was the entrance of a cave. No wonder it has been refusing to leave. Feeling that it is guarding things, this ground dragon does not seem to have the supernatural power of long-range attack, so it has been beaten but never fights back. Now under the rage, it finally made a move. Puff puff. Apparently, the powerhouses of the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix clan did not expect that the golden-armored earth-moving dragon was so fast that when it rushed into the crowd, countless people were instantly torn to pieces. However, the leader of the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix clan didn't care about the life or death of the clansmen at all, and with a flash of his figure, he rushed directly into the entrance of the cave. The moment they rushed into the cave, Long Chen, who was originally hiding in the depths of the dense forest, also disappeared. Chapter 5567 Roar. When the golden-armored ground dragon saw the 3 people from the Sky Demon and Divine Phoenix clan rushing towards the cave, it let out a loud roar, turned its head and rushed towards the entrance of the cave. However, its speed was significantly slower, and when it arrived, the figures of the 3 had disappeared at the entrance of the cave. Boom! With a bang, the golden-armored ground dragon plunged headlong into the hole. The hole was only as thick as its claws, and it couldn't hold it at all. But it stabbed suddenly, and the hole burst open, and then people saw a vast underground world. This is a golden underground world, and the sharp golden air blows towards the face, almost tearing people's souls apart. In this underground world, there is an ancient golden altar. On the altar, a golden long sword lies there quietly. The altar is incomplete, but it can be vaguely seen that there is a huge picture of the emperor on the altar. When the three Tianjiao of the Divine Phoenix clan saw the altar, their eyes were full of excitement. Is it the blood soul of the Divine Phoenix? When they saw the divine sword on the altar, the three couldn't help but scream. It's no wonder that the golden armor of this ground dragon is so terrifying. It turns out that it has absorbed the sharp gold power of the altar to practice, so it has such a defense. The woman who met Long Chen in the Sky Demon City exclaimed. Another woman said, "This sword has the blood soul power of the ancestors of my heavenly demon and divine phoenix clan. It should be the damned human race who used the blood soul of our ancestors to refine the spirit of this sword. Damn it." Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbers, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org Source app. Don't talk so much, you two lead people to stop this stupid dragon. There is a magic circle of gods on this altar. I need to break through the magic circle before I can get the sword. Buy me time. The man from the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix clan said. Brother Chenfeng, just let go of your hands and feet, and leave this stupid dragon to us. The woman who had encountered Long Chen once said with a charming smile on her face, but unfortunately, the man didn't even look at it. With a glance, she had already rushed straight to the altar. The power of the Divine Phoenix, the earth explodes and the sky rushes. The two women stopped drinking at the same time, and both of them summoned a vision. At the same time, the two dragon energy of the Tianmai burned, forming a huge shock wave in front of them. Boom, the two broke out with all their strength, and the power of their blood began to burn. Although the golden armored dragon was a second-rank god emperor powerhouse, he couldn't withstand the full blow of the two and was directly knocked over. Everyone obeys orders, with the two of us as the leader, combined with the Divine Phoenix locking formation. The woman who had encountered Long Chen stopped drinking, and at this time all the strong men of the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix clan had already killed them. Chi chi chi. They bent their bows and shot arrows, and arrows flew out one after another. However, the arrows did not shoot at the golden armored dragon, but flew over its head. At the end of the arrow, there was a blood-colored silk thread, and millions of silk threads crisscrossed to form a huge net, which instantly enveloped the golden armored dragon. Lock. When the net was formed, the two women appeared on the giant net at the same time, and the vision behind them suddenly fell, covering the giant net, and the Tianmai dragon chi surged, forming a double blockade. Boom boom boom. The golden armored ground dragon struggled frantically, but with the strength of millions of people, even if it was a second-rank god emperor, it couldn't break free for a while. Just as they sealed off the golden armored dragon, the altar over there glowed rapidly, and in just a few breaths, the man actually activated the altar magic circle. Brother Chenfeng, you are amazing. Seeing this scene, the two women shouted excitedly. The man called Morrowind, with ecstasy on his face, stepped onto the altar and grabbed the golden long sword. Boom, however, at that moment, Chenfeng was hit on the back of the head by a brick, blood spattered, and a piece of his skull collapsed. The melon seeds in the head are quite hard, bring them here. Long Chen's sneer came from the void, and the golden long sword in Chenfeng's hand disappeared instantly. Brother Chenfeng. Seeing Chenfeng being attacked and slowly falling to the ground, the two women were startled and angry, and one of them roared, Long Chen, you are a 1,000-sword killer. Boom. Apparently the woman recognized Long Chen's voice. The woman held the original true feather, the divine brilliance flowed, and the lightsaber filled the void, wrapping all the space around the altar. Chi chi chi. The void was split, but Long Chen could not be found at all. Puff! At this moment, a sudden change occurred. A man in black, holding a long black knife, pierced the top of the golden-armored dragon's head with a knife. The trapped golden-armored ground dragon was still struggling crazily, but after being hit by this knife, he remained motionless and was instantly killed. Thank you, friends from the Heavenly Demon and Divine Phoenix clan. I still have something to do, so I'll be leaving first. See you later. Long Chen killed the golden-armored ground dragon with a single blow, and the black energy of the evil moon erupted from the keel, and the formation sealed on it instantly shattered. Long Chen threw the huge body of the golden-armored earth-walking dragon into the chaotic space, and waved his hands at them when he had time to wave. Thunder wings appeared behind him, and the person rushed out of the underground world like a bolt of lightning. Where to go? The woman roared and was about to chase and kill Long Chen, but was stopped by another woman. It's important to save brother Chenfeng. Only then did they realize that their elder brother Chenfeng was still alive and dead. When they came to Chenfeng, he had slowly woken up, but he was still spinning and unable to stand up. Brother Chenfeng, how are you? The two hurriedly checked on Chenfeng's injuries. They found that except for a hole in the back of his head, Chenfeng had no other injuries. This wound was not fatal, and they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. At this time, Chenfeng gritted his teeth, his face distorted to the point of deformation. You can see clearly, the person who attacked me is that guy named Long Chen? That's right, it's him. His voice is the most annoying. I knew it was him when I heard the voice, not to mention that he showed up. The woman said, Long Chen. Chenfeng touched the back of his head that was in severe pain and was still bleeding. He gritted his teeth and said, Long Chen, don't take this revenge. Chenfeng, swear not to be human. It's so disgusting. When we catch him, he will definitely be skinned and shredded into pieces. Another woman also said viciously. They sensed that there was a treasure here, and after a lot of tossing, hundreds of thousands of people died, but they didn't get a single hair. Thinking of Long Chen's arrogant appearance, their lungs were about to explode. This Long Chen was originally an enemy of our Heavenly Demon Alliance. We were still thinking about how to catch him, but we didn't expect him to dare to bully us. Use the secret method to see if you can contact other people from the Sky Demon Alliance, and send out the location here so that they can take precautions. It is best to kill him directly. Chenfeng gritted his teeth. Originally, he wanted to kill Long Chen alone, but the Tianmai Profound Realm is too vast. Finding someone is like finding a needle in a haystack. Moreover, Long Chen was involved too much. To be on the safe side, he had better find a way to pass the news on. Let's go. Chenfeng stepped forward, but just after taking a few steps, his eyes went dark and he fell directly, causing the two women to cry out in shock. Chapter 5568, Boom Boom Boom. Just as Long Chen left, there was a rumble in the chaotic space, and the Yaoyue cauldron kept hitting the golden long sword. Hey, stop. Long Chen screamed in fright. This golden long sword is extremely powerful. When it was just put away, the spirit was still sleeping. After entering the chaotic space, it is already awakened, but in the chaotic space, it dare not move. Facing the impact of the Yaoyue cauldron, it also dare not fight back, pitifully silent. I just said, this sword was left by Long Chen to that woman surnamed by, you just don't believe it. Longu Shiyue complained. Yao Linger heard what Longu Xie said, and immediately became very angry. You told me to smash it. Now. Yao Linger was so angry that she was about to cry. At this time, Dragon Bone Xieyu, Xie Shui Fan Tian Yin, and Qian Kun Cauldron were all surrounding the golden long sword, but they didn't speak. Shiyue, you are really hurtful. Long Chen was speechless for a while. The Xie Shui Fan Tian seal is just like a child. Without Long Chen's order, it will not make a move. Yao Linger is also a good boy, only Longu Shiyue, who is so bad that he can figure it out even with his heels, must be the one who encouraged Yao Linger to make a move. The child Yao Linger didn't know at all that Dragon Bone Shiyue was cheating people, so he foolishly bumped into the golden long sword. Dragon Bone Shiyue originally planned to let Yao Linger smash the long sword into pieces, and then everyone would share its original power together. It also guessed what Long Chen was thinking, but in the face of such a temptation, it couldn't help it. If it didn't do it by itself, it would pull Yao Linger to take the blame. It's just that what it didn't expect was that this golden long sword had an unusual origin, and Yao Linger hit it several times in a row, but failed to hurt it. The big meat is in front, who can not drool? Didn't Lao Ding say nothing? Isn't he waiting to share the spoils? Long Gu Xie said disapprovingly. Cough, cough, cough. I was distracted just now, what are you talking about? Qian Kuanding said. Hold the grass, Lao Ding, you are really shady. Long Gu Xie was speechless for a while. Don't make trouble, this long sword is definitely not ordinary, and Shishi's magic weapon doesn't match her strength anymore. I need to find a good weapon for her, so don't bully it. Long Chen rode. Long Chen knew that as Long Gu Xie said, this magic weapon has a fatal temptation for them. Whether it is the Qiankuan Ding Dragon Bone Shiyue, or Yao Linger and Xiao Tian, if they absorb its original power, they will get huge benefits, so Long Chen can't really blame them. Hearing what Long Chen said, the golden long sword turned into a ray of light and flew in front of Long Chen, and Long Chen reached out to catch it. The golden long sword kept trembling, as if frightened, and all the runes on his body lit up, waiting for Long Chen to recognize his master with a drop of blood. Long Chen gently stroked the golden long sword, feeling its vast golden power, and smiled slightly. Don't be afraid, you can stay here, and I will find you a new master later, one that will satisfy you absolutely. Don't stay here, throw it into the soul space, otherwise you let a group of cats look at a fish, it will be a kind of torture for us. Longu Shiyue said unceremoniously. Long Chen almost stopped laughing. Unexpectedly, Longu Xie also had a humorous side. This metaphor is too appropriate. Hurry up, stop moaning, go and continue the treasure hunt. If you can use it, you can directly collect it into the soul space and leave the rest to us. Only when we are strong can we help you navigate the Tianmai profound realm. The opportunities here are yours as well as ours. Kiel Shiyue said. Long Chen nodded. Dragon Bone Xieyu was very right. Their power is the power of Long Chen, and finally there is such a chance for comprehensive improvement, we must hurry up. Long Chen glanced at the black soil. At this time, part of the body of the huge golden ground dragon was swallowed by the black soil. It has to be said that the black soil is too strong. After devouring 3 first-rank God Emperor level powerhouses, its strength has also become stronger. It seems that it will be able to devour this golden armored dragon in a few hours. At this moment, in the chaotic space, there is sufficient spiritual energy and sound laws. Looking up at the void, the golden lotus seeds are shining like a sun, illuminating the entire chaotic space. Everything is growing rapidly, and the height of the Taiyin tree has far surpassed the ancient Fusang tree. Since the ancient Fusang tree was parasitized by the golden crows, its growth rate has slowed down significantly. At this time, the runes on the eggs of the golden crow became denser and denser, and the aura became more terrifying. This is a good sign. As long as the power is continuously injected, they will soon break out of their shells. Huolinger said that when they break out of their shells, they will enter the realm of the emperor. The strength of a human sovereign-level golden crow is already astonishing. With so many golden crows attacking at the same time, Long Chen couldn't even imagine how terrifyingly lethal they would be. The most important thing is that Huolinger can condense all their powers together, and if she casts the world-exterminating fire lotus at that time, I'm afraid it will really be the world-exterminating fire lotus. Looking at the mysterious ancient vine again, it has grown a lot taller, the black lightning around it is thicker, and there are a few more leaves. Seeing Long Chen looking at it, it immediately felt a sensation, the leaves around it twisted, and waves of soul waves came. Long Chen smiled. No, if I need you, I will find you. This little guy actually thought that Long Chen wanted its leaves, so he took the initiative to send them up. He is really a cute little guy. Seeing their appearance, Long Chen was immediately confident. He knew that when he stepped out of the Tianmai Xian realm, this third Master Long would no longer be the third Master Long before, and he would no longer need to be a man with his tail between his legs. Long Chen's soul retreated from the chaotic space, and flew forward all the way. Suddenly, the Qinkuan cauldron opened his mouth and said, "Go forward to the right." Long Chen immediately flew away in the direction guided by the Qinkuan Ding, but after flying for half a stick of incense, Long Chen did not find any abnormalities, not even any fluctuations in the battle. When Long Chen was suspicious, Qinkuan Ding said, "There is a ditch between the two mountains ahead, there is a waterfall, there is a treasure under the waterfall, that is what you need, hurry up, someone is coming this way." When Long Chen climbed over the mountain, he immediately saw a huge waterfall with a width of hundreds of miles. When he saw the waterfall, Long Chen also saw dense figures rushing towards him. Looking in the direction, the target was the waterfall. Thunder's wings stretched behind Long Chen's back, and his speed instantly increased to the extreme, like a flash of lightning, rushing straight towards the waterfall. When Long Chen rushed towards the waterfall, the group of people in the distance also found Long Chen, and while they roared, they also accelerated their speed and rushed towards this side. Boom! Long Chen bumped into the waterfall, passed through the waterfall, and there was a hole in front of him, which turned out to be a fairy pond with a radius of tens of miles. In the pool, filled with immortal energy and surrounded by mist, there was actually a plant of magic medicine growing. When Long Chen saw the magic medicine, his heart was beating wildly and he rushed towards it. Narcissus. Chapter 5569. It was a cluster of daffodils, very big, about 10 feet high, and within a few feet, there were all its leaves, with 9 washbasin-sized flowers growing in the middle. It grows in the center of the fairy pond, and the petals and leaves are full of star spots, like billions of stars twinkling. Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbres, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org Source app, the flickering starlight reflected the entire cave like a vast starry sky, beautiful and magnificent. Baby, when he saw this Narcissus, Long Chen was so excited that his eyeballs would protrude. The Qinkuan cauldron had said long ago that there is a strange plant in the 9 heavens, named Tianxing Narcissus, the treasure that the descendants of 9 stars dream of. For so many years, Long Chen has been looking for it, but even Huayuan Commercial Bank has never heard of this name, let alone seen it. Now when he saw it and felt the power of its vast stars, Long Chen immediately knew that this was the Tianxing Narcissus that Qinkuan Ding said. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, there was a loud noise behind Long Chen, and figures rushed across the waterfall one by one. So many people came in at the same time, some of them were armed with magic weapons, and they were murderous. When they saw the weapons of these people, Long Chen's face suddenly changed. At this moment, he discovered that the starlight around Narcissus' body suddenly dimmed and began to wither quickly. Not good. Seeing this scene, Long Chen's face turned green with fright. The weapons in the hands of these idiots, with their killing intent, collided with the spirit plant, and it began to wither by itself and enter a dormant state. Long Chen flickered and appeared on the Narcissus, and the starry sky appeared behind him, and the divine brilliance enveloped the Narcissus. When Long Chen's star power erupted, Narcissus trembled slightly. For Long Chen's star power, it felt the power of affinity, and gradually became more courageous. Tianxing Narcissus is the companion spirit plant that every descendant of Jiuxing wants to have. With it, the cultivation of descendants of Jiuxing can get twice the result with half the effort. As for the Tianxing Narcissus, it seems that they were born for the descendants of the 9 stars. They hate all creatures, but they only have a friendly feeling for the power of the stars of the 9 stars. Kill him and rob this treasure. This group of people saw the scene in front of them, and their eyes were red. A tall and thin man was holding a compass. Obviously, he found this place through this compass. He roared and killed Long Chen. This person, relying on the compass in his hand, found out that there is a treasure here. Obviously, he doesn't know this sky star Narcissus at all, and he doesn't even know that except Long Chen, no one here can get it. If it hadn't been for Long Chen to stabilize it with the power of the stars, it would have withered long ago, and eventually turned into a seed, which flew away, and when it found a suitable place, it would take root and sprout again. Get the hell out of here, I've ruined my business and none of you will live. Seeing these people come to make trouble, Long Chen roared like thunder, and the whole cave was shaken. However, with Long Chen's roar, the sky star Narcissus under him was frightened and began to wither again. Long Chen was so frightened that he quickly used the power of the stars to comfort it. Tianxing Narcissus is very timid. If it is allowed to wither, it will be troublesome. Once it becomes a seed, it will trigger the star array, and it will leave through the sky. It has the ability to break through the barriers of the world. Within 9 days, there is nowhere to go, and trying to find it again is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Long Chen's roar made these people's eardrums roar, and blood flowed out of their ears. They were shocked by Long Chen's angry roar. This is a group of strong people from the human race. Judging from the costumes, they belong to the same sect. There are not many people, only a few 100,000. I don't know if it is a branch, there are so many people in the first place. There are so many of us, but he is alone, let's go together and kill him. The man holding the compass yelled, and at the same time put away the compass and held a sharp sword, a sword Qi cut down. Nima Long Chen was so angry that he wanted to die, but he had to suppress the killing intent in his heart, otherwise he would scare Tianxing Narcissus. Boom! The man's sword Qi slashed above Long Chen's starry sky barrier, and there was a loud bang. The sword Qi shattered, but Long Chen's star barrier also trembled. He didn't dare to fight back. Let's do it together. Seeing Long Chen, the man shattered his sword energy just by relying on the enchantment. He couldn't help being shocked, but soon he discovered Long Chen's weakness. Seeing that Long Chen couldn't fight back, these powerhouses shot at the same time, and the divine splendor shot out, bombarding Long Chen frantically. A bunch of bastards, you just wait for me. Long Chen was so angry that his face turned green, but he couldn't fight back, let alone kill him, but with so many people attacking wildly, it would consume a huge amount of his star power. What makes Long Chen most uncomfortable is that he can only use the power of the stars now. If he uses other powers, he will scare the Tianxing Narcissus, and then his previous efforts will be wasted. Boom boom boom. Endless attacks landed on the star barrier, and Long Chen's star barrier quickly changed from bright to dim, obviously consuming at an alarming rate. Seeing this scene, these people thought that Long Chen's power would soon be exhausted, and when the star barrier was broken, it was time to kill Long Chen. Long Chen's hands trembled, and the power of the stars was rapidly consumed. At the same time, he used his soul to communicate with Tianxing Narcissus and let him trust him. Only by gaining its trust can he move it into the chaotic space. Suddenly, Long Chen spat out a mouthful of blood, and the power of the stars was about to be consumed. He had to burn the power of purple blood to maintain the power of the stars. The power of purple blood is the only existence that can burn for a short time and provide energy for the power of stars, but using the power of purple blood also needs to take huge risks. If Tianxing Narcissus senses something is wrong, he will run away immediately. Fortunately, Tianxing Narcissus didn't react too much to the power of purple blood. Seeing this scene, Long Chen couldn't help being overjoyed, and directly started to burn the power of purple blood to maintain the star barrier. However, among the hundreds of thousands of strong men's attacks, less than half of them were sealed strong men. The power of so many people caused too much consumption to Long Chen. Fortunately, there are only a dozen or so people here who have condensed a heavenly dragon energy, and Long Chen can barely support it. If there are dozens of people, Long Chen will be completely finished. Boom boom boom. Seeing Long Chen start to burn his blood, these people were shocked and angry. Only then did they realize that Long Chen's strength was beyond their imagination. However, they are now in a difficult situation. Now that they have made a move, either you die or I live, and they start to attack even more frantically. Just when Long Chen's purple blood power was about to be exhausted, finally, the star Narcissus glowed all over and floated up from the pool. Long Chen was overjoyed when he saw this, and the power of the stars flowed, sending it directly into the chaotic space. When the star Narcissus was brought into the chaotic space, Long Chen raised his brows with murderous intent, waved his big hand, and the Keel evil moon was in his hand. Give me all to die. With a roar from Long Chen, the keel evil moon streaked across the sky, and a black crescent slashed out. Chapter 5570 Long Chen had been beaten for such a long time, and he endured it all the time, holding back his anger. This group of people almost ruined his event. At this time, Tianxing Narcissus was collected into the chaotic space, and Long Chen's anger could no longer be suppressed, and the dragon bone Shiyue cut out with a knife. Boom! With so many people attacking wildly, the mountain that couldn't be shaken was shattered by Long Chen's single blow, and countless figures were instantly reduced to powder. To be honest, the strength of this group of people is really average, but I don't know where they got the courage to provoke Long Chen. The most important thing is that they clearly saw the horror of Long Chen, but they didn't stop earlier, let alone escape earlier. The sword shattered the sky, and the blood mist filled the air. Only the strong men who had condensed a dragon energy from the sky veins barely endured Long Chen's blow, but the weapons exploded one after another, and the people were also severely injured, flying far away. Long Chen took a step forward and caught up with them. The keel of the evil moon shone brightly, and Xinlong's killing intent had already locked them. The leading man yelled, "Hero, spare your life." It was him just now, holding a compass, who found this place, and now he is yelling in horror. "Forgive me, give me a reason to spare you?" Long Chen snapped. However, Long Chen's anger was rising at this time. After saying this, he didn't give him a chance to speak at all, because no matter what reason he had, he couldn't stop Long Chen's long knife from falling. However, at the moment when Long Chen slashed with the long knife, the dragon bone Shiyue suddenly stopped in midair, and Long Chen's body was stiff and the knife could not go down. Because the man spread his hands, 3 magical weapons appeared on his head, a rusty battle axe, an incense burner, and an ancient compass. The man was trembling all over at this moment, lying on the ground. At this time he put all his eggs in one basket and took out all the treasures, only hoping to save his life. That compass is a good thing. It can search for various geniuses and treasures, and calculate luck fluctuations. Otherwise, with his short life, it is impossible to meet these 2 magic weapons of the chaotic era. Qian Kunding reminded. Long Chen was also stunned. This guy has so many treasures despite his appearance. Oh brother, this is all a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Long Chen's face changed instantly. Just now, his face was full of murderous looks, but now he was full of smiles. With a big wave of his hand, he put the mysterious compass into his arms, and threw the 2 magic weapons into the chaotic space. As soon as they entered, they were smashed by Yao Linger and Xieshue Fantianyan. The keel evil moon was originally in Long Chen's hands, but it disappeared in an instant. When it was time for dinner, it would not be a bit reserved. Seeing that Long Chen took the treasure, the man was already trembling with fright, but seeing hope at this moment he hurriedly said, "That's right, it's because we have blind eyes and blind eyes that provoked the hero. Now that the treasure is delivered, we only hope that the hero can spare our lives." After finishing speaking, the man kowtowed frantically, and the others were also frightened. In the face of death, they all chose to give in and kowtowed frantically. "Okay, since it's all a misunderstanding, it's no big deal, let's go." Seeing what Long Chen said, everyone was overjoyed and thanked again. However, when they left, they didn't dare to turn around and run, but walked backwards. Long Chen didn't bother to talk to them. These guys were not kind. If he wasn't strong enough, he would definitely be murdered by them. This kind of person is not worthy of pity, but since he can offer treasures, Long Chen can't do something that takes both treasures and lives. Seeing that Long Chen really didn't kill them, the group of people fled without a trace. After they left, Long Chen entered the chaotic space for the first time. At this time, the 2 treasures were smashed, and the energy had been swallowed up by the Qiankuan Ding, Dragon Bone Shiyue, Yaoyue Ding, and Fan Tianing. Even Long Chen felt that these 4 guys were chattering, looking like they still had something to say. Long Chen went to see the Tianxing Narcissus for the first time. At this time, it was at the edge of the chaotic space, growing there quietly. It is surrounded by stars, reflecting the entire sky, and the sea of stars above the sky also reflects it, and they are forming a certain connection with each other. The last battle on the chaotic battlefield caused earth-shaking changes in the chaotic space. The power of the stars lit up the sky. At this time, they echoed each other from afar. "Senior, can I use him to strengthen my star power now?" Longchen asked. "Not yet, the Tianqing narcissus has just bloomed, and what we want is its Tianqing fruit. At that time, you can combine the power of the stars outside the sky and the power of the stars in the chaotic space with the star fruit as a link. At that time, use its buffer power to condense your 8-star battle body, so as to reduce your death probability." Qian Kuan-Ding said. It knows that Long Chen's 9-star overlord body art has deviated from the original route, and Long Chen's current 8-star map is the most basic and original 8-star map. If you want to make the 8-star map stronger, you need to change its form and find its strongest form in the process of exploration. And changing the 8-star form is an extremely dangerous thing. Ever since Long Chen condensed a complete 8-star battle, Long Chen has the urge to strengthen. Because Long Chen discovered that the original 8-star map had countless possibilities to become stronger, but they were all suppressed by the Qian Kuan-Ding. Qian Kuan-Ding told him that as his strength became stronger, the power of the stars he attracted would increase. If he failed to control the power of the stars in the sky, he would explode and die in an instant. To strengthen the 9-star hegemony body art, 2 conditions must be fulfilled first. One is to find the Tianqing narcissus, and the other is to condense the Tianmai dragon qi, strengthen the physical body to the extreme, and advance to the human sovereign. The 2 conditions are indispensable, but after Long Chen got the Tianqing narcissus, he got carried away and forgot the second condition mentioned by the Qian Kuan-Ding. Hearing what Qian Kuan-Ding said, he knew that he was impatient, suppressed his excitement, and withdrew from the chaotic space. According to Qian Kuan-Ding, it would take a very long time for Tianqing narcissus to bear fruit, and even in the chaotic space, it would not bear fruit so quickly. Anyway, don't be in a hurry, just let it grow slowly. Long Chen stretched out his hand and took it out from his bosom, and the compass appeared in Long Chen's hand. Long Chen injected the power of blood into it, and the original dark yellow roulette instantly turned into 7 colors. This roulette is driven by the power of blood, and the power of that person's blood contains the power of earth, so it is dark yellow. The power of the colorful supreme blood is too overbearing, which will affect its sensitivity, but it can be used barely. Qian Kuan-Ding said, "What are these spots?" Long Chen looked at the roulette. Countless runes were spinning. He couldn't understand it, but saw a few spots appearing. "That's the fluctuation of the treasure." Qian Kuan-Ding said, "Wow." When Long Chen heard that it was a treasure, he suddenly regained his energy. With this treasure hunting roulette, he no longer needs to rely on luck in treasure hunting. Long Chen screamed excitedly, and the figure flickered and disappeared instantly. Chapter 5571, Haha, the baby is me. A man was holding a rusty spear and laughing wildly, boom, but before he could finish laughing, a brick slammed hard on the back of his head, and with a bang, the back of the man's head shot open, his eyes rolled white, and he was knocked unconscious. "What's yours is mine." A big hand protruded from the void, grabbed the spear, dragged it into the space, and then disappeared. Boom! The moment the big hand disappeared, countless attacks flooded the space, but they didn't even scratch the enemy's hair. In a cave, a person looked at a strange vat in front of him and shouted excitedly, "Great, great ancestors bless you, the lost treasure. Bless your head, bring it to you." Boom! The brick hit the back of the man's head, and the man yelled in pain, but what shocked Long Chen was that the 3 Tianmai dragon qi circulated around this person, and the power of Fan Tianin was partially offset by the Tianmai dragon qi. Failed to stun him. Court death. The man was injured, and his 5 fingers were like hooks grabbing behind him, but one claw was empty, and when he turned his head, the jar had disappeared. The man let out a terrifying roar, and Long Chen had already gone away, heading straight for the next target. "Ha! Ha, sister, bang! This treasure! That's mine! Bang! My God, I'm rich! That's me, not you! Bang! With the treasure hunting roulette and the blessing of the Xieshue Fantian seal, Long Chen became a knight emissary, specializing in robbing all kinds of treasures. The treasure detection roulette became more and more skillful in Long Chen's hands, especially with the blessing of Zixue. It was more sensitive to the fluctuation of treasures, and the detection direction was more accurate. Even in deep places underground, it could still be detected. The Xieshue Fantian seal has its own space, which gives Long Chen a super terrifying invisibility ability. The only regret is that when the Fantianin is in an invisible state, its power cannot be exerted, and it can only be used to knock people on the back of the head. If you want to exert its strongest power, you have to give up the power of invisibility. You can't have both. Long Chen encountered some terrifying monsters. They had condensed 3 Tianmai Dragon Qi in just a dozen days. Under the blessing of Tianmai Dragon Qi, Long Chen felt the suffocating pressure. He doesn't even have a single heavenly vein Dragon Qi. If he does something, Long Chen will suffer a lot. In fact, Long Chen is also a little anxious. With the passage of time, Long Chen found that the Tinjiao he met now, at worst, had condensed a dragon energy of the sky, and there was no ordinary heavenly saint anymore. Long Chen wanted to condense the Tianmai Dragon Qi, but was stopped by the Qiankuan Cauldron. The Qiankuan Cauldron said that because he was practicing the 9-star hegemony body art, if he wanted to condense a Tianmai Dragon Qi according to the ordinary practice method, he would not be able to. It takes months. And the further you go, the more difficult it will be. If you want to condense the dragon energy of Tianmai, you must find another opportunity. Qiankuan Ding told Long Chen that there are countless opportunities in the Tianmai profound realm, but the easiest opportunities are all in the initial stage. These treasures come out as the times require. People are looking for treasures, treasures are also looking for people, and after this period of time, some treasures can't sense the predestined people, so they will hide, waiting for the next opening of the Tianmai profound realm. And those powerful opportunities, such as the reverse scale of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, the fragments of the Excalibur, the Jiuli God Tablet, etc., they will not disappear. To get them, you need not only opportunities, but more importantly, strength. Therefore, the Chaos Dragon Emperor is not in a hurry to let him go to Enai Lin now, because it doesn't make any sense to go early. It takes a certain amount of time for these treasures to be born, and to win them, they need their approval. Qiankuan Ding told Long Chen that the most important thing for him now is to quickly grab the treasure and get more corpses. That day's star Narcissus is also one of the necessary conditions for Long Chen to gather the dragon energy of the sky. Hearing what Qiankuan Ding said, Long Chen was not in a hurry. Anyway, sharpening a knife is not a mistake in chopping firewood. Getting the treasure can enhance the power of Qiankuan Ding, Dragon Bone Xie, Yaoyue Ding, and Fan Tianin. Obtaining the corpse of the monster beast can improve the chaotic space. No matter how you do it, he will not lose money. When he heard that this kind of treasure will retire soon, Long Chen didn't dare to waste time and started running around. As Long Chen frenziedly attacked all kinds of strong people, beat people up, and took away their treasures, his notoriety immediately aroused the public anger of countless strong people. But no one saw Long Chen's face, didn't know who did it, and didn't dare to speak out, for fear of being laughed at, so he had to knock out his teeth and swallow it in his stomach. Long Chen snatched treasures everywhere, and most treasures were guarded by terrifying existences. Long Chen often beat people, snatched treasures, and snatched corpses in one go. Long Chen became more and more proficient in controlling the Xieshue Fantian seal, and his shots were clean and neat. The enemy often didn't know what happened, and everything was over. The busy time is always passing by quickly. A whole month has passed, and Long Chen is crazy about treasure hunting. During this time, Long Chen has robbed thousands of magic weapons, except for the golden sword. It was devoured by the Keel evil moons. They snatched all kinds of corpses, a total of 573, most of them were second-rank god emperors. Today's chaotic space has undergone earth-shaking changes. On the eggs of the golden crow, there are dots of spots, and the divine light flows. The eggshell is getting thinner and thinner, gradually becoming transparent, and the reborn little golden crow can be faintly seen inside. As for the trees of Taiyin, because they do not need to nourish the golden crow like the ancient Fusang trees, they are much taller than the ancient Fusang trees, and the fire of Taiyin flows around them, like a long river of flames flowing crazily, with an extremely terrifying aura. The mysterious ancient vine has grown to more than 3 feet high, as thick as a human's arm, covered with black markings, like the scales of a beast, with a destructive aura that makes people chill. What excites Longchen the most is that the Tianxing narcissus has produced fruit. The diameter of the fruit is about a foot, and the peel is translucent. The inside is dotted with stars, as if a universe is sealed. According to Chen Kuan Ding, when the fruit becomes completely transparent, it is the moment when it is ripe, and it can be used at that time. Boom! There was a loud bang, and Fan Tianyin slapped hard on the head of a person who was wearing a cloak on his head, and the cloak glowed, and Fan Tianyin shook violently, the terrifying force, even shaking Longchen's arms numb. Fan Tianyin, the seal of the sky, almost fell off. Not good. Longchen was shocked, and often walked by the river, and finally got to wet his shoes, and finally encountered a hard stubble. This person was sitting cross-legged on an altar, holding a long black sword in his hand, piercing into the center of the altar, as if performing some kind of ceremony. The treasure that Longchen detected was the long sword in his hand, and Longchen didn't wait for him patiently, preparing to knock him down with a brick and leave with the sword. Unexpectedly, that seemingly ordinary cloak turned out to be a terrifying magic weapon. Even the roulette was not detected. Longchen had tried it before, and it couldn't detect Chen Kuan Ding and Kiel Xia. It could detect Fan Tianyin and Yaoyue Ding at the beginning, but later, when they became stronger and stronger, the roulette could not be detected either. This means that its detection ability is limited. If the treasure's strength is too much higher than it, it will be powerless. Die. Longchen knocked the man with a brick, but the shock made his palm hurt. The man suddenly turned his face, and under the cloak's light, Longchen finally saw the man's face clearly. When he saw the man's face clearly, Longchen couldn't help but shudder. Chapter 5572. Under the cloak turned out to be a skeleton with bloody flesh on it, as if it had been bitten by something, but it wasn't clean. Even with Longchen's knowledge, he was taken aback. Just when Longchen was shocked, he opened his big hand, and the bone claws grabbed Longchen like lightning. The moment the bone claw was grabbed, the runes gathered into 5 heavenly veins of dragon energy, and the entire space collapsed in an instant. I go! The 5-vein dragon energy. This is a terrifying 5-veined heavenly sage. The most terrifying thing is that it neither seals nor utters words, and can fully erupt the power of the 5 sky-vein dragon energy with a wave of hand. Boom! Longchen didn't even think about it. Facing such a terrifying attack, he directly sacrificed the Yaoyue cauldron, slammed it at the man, and with a bang, the Yaoyue cauldron was blown away by the bone claw, directly piercing the ground. Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbres, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org Source app. At this time, Longchen's figure had disappeared, and the man was taken aback. This was the first time he had seen such a strange movement. At this moment, a big hand stretched out from the air to pull out the bone sword on the altar. At this time, Longchen still wanted to steal the treasure. When Longchen's hand touched the long sword, at that time, the long sword trembled suddenly, Longchen's face changed drastically, and he let go hastily. Boom! There was a shocking explosion, and above the hilt of the sword, a beam of light rose into the sky, and the violent power sent Longchen and that strong man flying at the same time. Boom! This underground world exploded with a bang, followed by a huge monster slowly rising from the ground. It was a giant egg. As soon as it appeared, Longchen's soul trembled due to the terrifying coercion. In this giant egg, there was a terrifying existence sealed. Boom! Without even thinking about it, Longchen summoned the Yaoyue cauldron and smashed it hard on the giant egg. With a bang, the giant egg was smashed into a big hole by the Yaoyue cauldron. As soon as the giant egg was broken, purple immortal energy gushed out of it. Seeing that purple energy, Chenkuan Ding, Dragon Bone Shiwe, and Xiaodian all went crazy and went upstream directly into the giant egg. Hey! When they rushed, Long Chen suddenly became a loner, and the mysterious strong man was shocked and angry at this time. His figure flickered and disappeared instantly. The moment he disappeared, Long Chen suddenly felt a sharp killing intent, making his scalp numb. 8-star battle body, open. Facing such a terrifying powerhouse, Long Chen didn't dare to have any reservations and directly summoned the strongest force, punching the void with a punch. Boom! With a bang, the starlight flew, and the blood splashed. The black long sword shattered the starlight on Long Chen's fist, making Long Chen's fist bloody. This was the first time Long Chen had encountered such a terrifying opponent. With a single blow, he broke through the defense of his starry sky suit. Heir of the 9 stars? Fighting against Long Chen, the mysterious strong man let out a cold snort, with a touch of surprise in his voice. Although he was a bone skeleton, from his voice, it could be heard that he was a man. There was a touch of surprise in his voice, but when he learned of Long Chen's identity, his breath became more and more fierce, and the 5 heavenly veins of dragon energy circulated behind him, and the breath was rising rapidly. What a terrifying coercion! Long Chen was taken aback. Long Chen had never seen such a terrifying existence. When the 5 dragon veins flowed rapidly, they gradually formed a space gate. The mysterious weirdo looked at Long Chen with empty eye sockets and said coldly, "Unexpectedly, I will meet the descendant of the 9 stars here." Very good, let me, Li Changing, experience whether the legendary descendant of the 9 stars is really that strong. Boom! With a loud bang, a huge door that covered the sky emerged, and that huge door covered the entire sky. 5 celestial veins and dragon energy are inlaid on it, forming a strange picture of the door lock. The picture and text circulate, instantly lighting up the entire dark door. When he saw the gate, Long Chen was shocked. Door of Hell! Long Chen recognized it at a glance. It was the gate of hell. He was too familiar with it. Back then, he stole the door knocker and bolt of the gate of hell, and released Wu Tian unintentionally. Now seeing the gate of hell again, the terrifying sense of oppression almost overwhelmed Long Chen. You actually know the gate of hell. It seems that you have been contaminated with the karma of hell. Today, let me end your life and end this karma. The gates of hell, open. Li Changing roared angrily. Boom! The huge portal opened slowly, and then the 9-color divine light rushed towards the face, illuminating the whole world. And the moment the whole world was lit up, the spirit of killing rose, the trees were withering, the earth was rotting, the mountains were collapsing, and the vitality between the heaven and the earth was drained in an instant. The gate of hell opened, and the 9-color divine splendor fell from the sky. It was a series of waterfalls. Seeing them, Long Chen was stunned. 9 springs, Long Chen has seen this scene before, and now seeing it again, Long Chen seems to be in a dream. The gate of hell opens, 9 springs emerged, 10,000 ways mourn, and the universe is overturned. This is Li Changing's vision. At this time, he seems to be the god in charge of hell, looking down on Long Chen. In front of that huge vision, Long Chen was as small as an ant. Long Chen had never seen such a terrifying vision. At that moment, Long Chen seemed to be facing not one person, but the entire hell. The 9-color waterfall was rushing, as if it was the reincarnation of heaven and earth, endless, and the power was desperate. Long Chen's body was trembling nonstop. He was not afraid, but excited. The strong sense of oppression made him a little out of breath. However, this sense of oppression deeply stimulated every nerve and every drop of his blood. The stars behind him were swaying, the stars around him were flowing, and endless power was churning. Facing a peerless powerhouse, his fighting spirit was awakening. He had never seen such a powerful opponent in his life. At that moment, his fighting spirit was overwhelming. Kill, Li Changing and Long Chen roared at the same time. The 9-colored brilliance and the stars trembled, and they collided fiercely like a meteor. Boom! With a shocking explosion, Long Chen spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out backwards, while Li Changjing just swayed, and with one blow he was judged. Heir of the 9 stars? That's all. Li Changjing sneered, and his figure disappeared in a flash. Under the light of the 9 springs, the whole world was his dominion. Damn, so strong. Long Chen was so shocked that his blood surged, and the vision of the 9 springs covered the sky, covering the sky, and even suppressed Long Chen's vision of the stars. This greatly reduced Long Chen's star power, and he suffered a big loss after only meeting each other. The most important thing is that the opponent has condensed 5 Tianmai dragon energy, while he has no hair, and the gap is widened in an instant. If it is an ordinary Tianjiao, with this gap, Long Chen still has the strength to fight, but this Li Changjing has a mysterious origin and amazing strength. With the gap between the 5 heavenly veins, even Long Chen is somewhat powerless. Being at an absolute disadvantage, it inspired Long Chen's strong desire to survive, and he quickly formed a seal with his left hand. Buzzing, the stars trembled, tens of thousands roared, and star shields formed one after another, forming 36 shields in an instant. Boom! However, the 36 shields were pierced by a punch, and in front of that fist, the star shield condensed by Long Chen was like a blank sheet of paper. Snapped! However, at the moment when all the shields were shattered, Long Chen's right hand suddenly pulled towards the void, and with a bang, the void exploded, and a figure emerged. It was Li Changjing. Li Changjing appeared, but at this moment he was stunned. Long Chen actually slapped him. Although he had no face, the blow did not cause any harm to him at all, but his killing intent soared to the extreme in an instant. Li Changjing roared and shook the sky, his hands formed seals, and the 9 colors spring flowed behind his back, and hundreds of millions of chains protruded from it, and the overwhelming chains came straight to Long Chen. Chapter 5573, 9 Springs Lock the Universe. Li Changjing roared, his murderous aura was overwhelming, billions of chains shot out from the vision behind him. At that moment, the time and space between heaven and earth stagnated, and Long Chen was shocked to find that he could not move. Long Chen was shocked. At this time, the power of the stars was added to his body. Even if the vision was affected, no one had ever been able to suppress him from moving. Not only was the body unable to move, Qian Kuanding and Dragon Bone Xiaoyu also got into the eggshell, unable to help Long Chen, and Long Chen fell into a desperate situation in an instant. Long Chen suddenly closed his eyes tightly, and suddenly opened his left eye. The inside of his eyes was pitch black. When that eye opened, the whole world dimmed instantly. Purgatory lore, Long Chen stopped drinking, and in his eyes, the 3-flower pattern flowed, and the space in front of him distorted instantly. Boom boom boom. Hundreds of millions of chains rushed in front of Long Chen, resisted by the vortex. The hundreds of millions of chains burst into pieces, endless avenue runes, and the law runes of the purgatory world wreaked havoc. The heavens collapsed, the earth was annihilated, and the violent power wiped out the world in front of us. Destroyed in an instant, forming a place of death. Boom, affected by the power, the giant egg burst open, and the Qingkuan cauldron, Dragon Bone Shiyue, Yao Linger, and Fantian's seal all flew out. At the same time, Long Chen saw the appearance of a giant crocodile that was thousands of miles long. Its body was covered with colorful scales, and its aura was so similar to Li Changjing. Yellow spring blood crocodile. When Long Chen saw the huge crocodile, his scalp felt numb. He finally understood what Li Changjing was doing just now. He was waking up this blood crocodile. They all came from the same place. Go quickly, Kiel Shiyue, Yao Linger, and Xiao Tian entered Long Chen's chaotic space for the first time, and the Qingkuan tripod stopped drinking with a bang, and the divine light shone brightly, wrapping Long Chen. If you want to leave, go dreaming. Seeing that Long Chen was about to run away, Li Changjing stopped drinking, and the vision behind him flowed, and the divine splendor of Jiuquan's soared into the sky again. Wait me a moment. After Long Chen finished speaking, he suddenly disappeared in an instant. Boom! With a bang, they turned their heads together and hit Li Changjing hard on the head. Li Changjing suddenly spurted out a mouthful of blood. Li Changjing was channeling his supernatural powers to prevent Long Chen from escaping, But unexpectedly, Long Chen launched an attack rashly and knocked him down. If it was normal, this blow would not hurt him at all. His body had already reached the point where it could not be damaged without repair, and he was not afraid of any magic weapon. The reason why he was injured was because he was in the stage of channeling supernatural powers. When he was hit by Long Chen, his power lost control in an instant, and he was injured under the terrifying impact. Don't make trouble and run. That crocodile is the scariest. Qian Kuan-ding exclaimed. It didn't expect that it was at this time, and it was still idle. But at this moment, the huge blood crocodile suddenly opened its bloody mouth, and Long Chen's soul suddenly tightened, and the violent suction force directly sucked him and Li Chongying towards the mouth. Not only that, but the death domain formed by their hard work just now was also swallowed by its suction. Only then did Long Chen realize how terrifying this legendary Huangquan blood crocodile is. Boom! At this moment, the Qinkuan cauldron wrapped Long Chen, shattered the void, forcibly broke out from the terrifying vortex, and disappeared instantly. Asshole! Seeing Long Chen fleeing, Li Chongying let out a roar that shook the sky, and at this moment, the yellow spring blood crocodile also stopped its big move. I'm furious! Li Chongying raised his head to the sky and shouted loudly. The sound shook the sky. He is in existence with a lot of history, but today he was slapped with 2 bricks. He was going crazy. However, roaring is useless. The blood crocodile's lore technique can destroy the world, but it can't trap the heaven and earth cauldron. You wait for me. The next time I meet you, I will definitely have your cramps skinned. After Li Chongying roared angrily, he waved his hand, and the huge Huangquan blood crocodile disappeared instantly, and he also turned around and disappeared into the void. What is that? Why is it so scary? After escaping, Long Chen said with lingering fear on his face that Li Chongying was scary enough, but that Huangquan blood crocodile was even more terrifying. Qian Kuan-ding said that Li Chongying is the son of Huangquan, and his physical body is the predecessor of the underworld emperor. Predecessor? What is that? Long Chen was startled. That is the body used by the underworld emperor before, because he was beheaded by the Lord of 9 Stars, and the will of the Lord of 9 Stars was attached to it. He had to abandon his physical body, integrate into the laws of the underworld, and recondense his soul and physical body. And the body he abandoned, because of the will of the Lord of 9 Stars, should all decay in the end. But then he fell into the underworld for some reason, and under the baptism of the power of the underworld he finally saved his bones, and his flesh and blood disappeared. This Li Chongying, after obtaining the corpse, directly integrated his soul into the corpse, and practiced with the secret method of the underworld. However, it is not that simple to fuse the corpse of the emperor of the underworld. First, he needs to cut off the karma of the past, present, and future. This is extremely dangerous, and it can be said that he is close to death. However, this Li Chongying was very courageous. At that time, he was already a 9th rank emperor, but he still couldn't touch the higher threshold, and finally chose to fuse this corpse. I didn't expect him to succeed, but after he succeeds, he has to start all over again. If he wants to restore his previous strength, he needs to use this corpse as a treasure raft to let the corpse grow blood and flesh again. This was almost impossible, but as you can see, his face already has flesh and blood, which shows that he has succeeded, and it seems he will be able to have a complete flesh and blood body in a short time. At that time, he will be an extremely terrifying existence. Hearing the introduction of Qian Kuan-ding, Long Chen couldn't help but gasp. No wonder 2 bricks in a row couldn't hurt him. Even without the cloak, he couldn't be hurt. The corpse of the underworld emperor, this is too scary. The former 9th rank god emperor, and also the 9th rank god emperor in the era of chaos. No wonder he has such terrifying power. And that Huangquan blood crocodile is a contract beast he kept in captivity in the era of chaos, but he needs to use the corpse to rebuild it. He needs to seal the Huangquan blood crocodile first, so that its cultivation level cannot surpass his own. Otherwise, the Huangquan blood crocodile is notorious and will not be restrained by it. There is endless energy accumulated in the eggshell. They were all stripped from the body of the blood crocodile in Huangquan, in order to weaken it, and now it is cheaper for us, hee hee. Long Gu Xie said with a chuckle. Kiel Xie seldom speaks in such a tone, which shows that they have all obtained great benefits. You used the eyes of purgatory and got injured, but don't feel bad, we have gained huge benefits, and you will find that everything is worth it. Chen Kuan-ding comforted Long Chen. At this moment, blood overflowed from Long Chen's left eye, and it was very painful. At that time, the blow definitely had the ability to kill Long Chen. Long Chen had no choice but to use the eye of purgatory. Originally, Long Chen was still a little upset, but hearing what Chen Kuan-ding said, it meant that the energy in the eggshell was extremely important to them, otherwise they would not let themselves take risks. It's nothing, it's just that in the same rank, being beaten away by someone feels a little bit annoyed. Long Chen smiled wryly. Temporary victory or defeat is nothing at all. The important thing is to get benefits. Besides, he himself is a 9th-rank god emperor, and he is also a strong man in the era of chaos. With the corpse of the underworld emperor, how can he be regarded as the same rank? Chen Kuan-ding wrote. Hey, you're right when you say that, Long Chen chuckled, and the depression in his heart was swept away. In addition, he has already gathered 5 dragon energy from the sky, and you have none, which is an absolute disadvantage. Besides, the cultivation base of his Huangquan blood crocodile was suppressed, but it was only suppressed within the big realm. In other words, the strength of that Huangquan blood crocodile is the pinnacle of your realm. Let's put it this way, they can walk sideways in Tainmeiquan territory now. Unless everyone is promoted to Jumai Tianxing, his advantage will gradually decrease. Chen Kuan-ding said. Long Chen nodded. This guy is at the level of cheating, it would be unwise to fight with him. Shiyue, Yaolinger, and Xiao Tian need to retreat for a period of time. During this time, you can use Xia Ocean's invisibility ability, but you can't use it to fight, otherwise it will affect its ability to absorb the energy of Huangquan blood crocodile. Kainkunding rode. Understood. After Long Chen finished speaking, he took out the blindfold and covered his left eye. In this way, Long Chen was simply a one-eyed thief. He took a short rest and disappeared into the dense forest. Chapter 5574. My friend, this treasure is destined for me, I'm sorry. Long Chen was holding a strangely shaped jar. At his feet, a person was bleeding from the back of his head, lying on the ground and passed out. There are countless figures looking at them in front of them, their eyes are spewing fire, and their murderous intent is soaring. If the eyes can kill, Long Chen has already been crushed into meat. Damn one-eyed dragon, you dare to steal things from our Tianmen, are you impatient? Do you know what is the relationship between our Tianmen and Brahma Pill Valley? One person roared. So you know Brahma Pill Valley? Long Chen was taken aback. Seeing what Long Chen said, the man immediately saw hope, and he shouted, Our Tianhe Valley is under the control of Brahma Pill Valley, and we don't need to pay for the pills of Brahma Pill Valley. If you dare to snatch our treasures, it is tantamount to going against the great Brahma Pill Valley. So that's the case, then? Suddenly Long Chen raised his foot, kicked the fainted man, the power of the stars exploded, and with a bang, the man was kicked and exploded by Long Chen. I snatched your stuff and I snatched it right. I not only want to snatch your treasures, but also your lives. As soon as he heard that it was Brahma Pill Valley's dog leg, Long Chen was furious and threw the jar directly into the chaotic space, and a thunderball of light appeared in his left hand. Escape. Seeing this scene, the scalps of this group of strong men suddenly went numb. They were considered smart, and when they saw that the situation was not good, they ran away. Boom! The thunderball of light exploded, and countless people were swallowed by the thunderball of light. They were blown up by the power of the thunder, crying for their father and mother, in a panic. This is just a group of miscellaneous fish. It doesn't make any sense whether to kill them or not. Long Chen only used Lei Linger's little strength so as not to affect his combat effectiveness. In the Tianmai profound realm, more and more people are constantly condensing the Tianmai dragon qi, their strength is getting stronger and stronger, and the pressure on Long Chen is also increasing. He has to maintain his peak state at all times. The strength of this group of people is very average, but all of them are dual-veined heavenly saints. The guy Long Chen killed was a three-veined heavenly saint. It takes a lot of effort. Long Chen clearly felt that he was being thrown off by more and more people, and his disadvantages became more and more obvious. But Qianquan Ding said that he hasn't reached the time to condense the dragon energy of Tianmai. What he has to do now is to keep robbing. Put the body of a giant python they just killed into the chaotic space. At this time, a lot of treasures have been accumulated in the chaotic space, but the Qianquan Ding, Dragon Bone Shiyue, Yaoyue Ding, and Fantian Yin are all in retreat, and there is no time to absorb them. Buzz. Long Chen took out the roulette, and suddenly found that countless light spots appeared on the roulette, and the fluctuation of the roulette became violent. What's this? Long Chen was stunned when he saw the dense dots of light. He had never seen such a situation before. Thunder wings sprouted behind him, and he flew in that direction like a bolt of lightning. After running wildly for a stick of incense, suddenly there was a loud explosion in front of him, and the divine light shot straight into the sky, and the whole world was trembling nonstop. Long Chen turned over a high mountain, and there was a deep valley in front of him. The deep valley was so huge that he couldn't see the end at a glance. Endless black runes flowed, forming a huge enchantment. Inside the enchantment, Long Chen saw that countless figures were fighting fiercely. What Long Chen didn't expect was that the objects of their fierce fighting were streamers of light. The streamer was as white as jade, like a shooting star, surging back and forth in the void, and countless strong men were directly crushed by the streamer, and even people and weapons were turned into dust. Could it be that these streamers are treasures? Long Chen was surprised and delighted, and rushed directly to the barrier without saying a word. However, the moment he touched the barrier, he couldn't help being stunned. This is the power of the sun? Long Chen didn't expect that this flame enchantment had a very strong affinity for him. There was no need to break it. It didn't stop him at all. Long Chen had just entered the enchantment, and was still shocked by the flame power of the enchantment. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, the void collapsed, and a Vajra rod roared in. The vast power of heaven made it difficult for Long Chen to breathe. Boom! Long Chen didn't even think about it. The power of the stars flowed on his fist. He punched hard, and with a bang, Long Chen and the man backed up at the same time. The man's aura is not strong, but the power of heaven is boundless, which surprised Long Chen. Long Chen took a closer look and found that the man turned out to be a four-veined heavenly saint. Long Chen was startled and angry. This person was not very strong, but with the blessing of 4 dragon energy from the sky, he was able to fight himself to a tie. And that person was also taken aback. He saw that Long Chen didn't even show a Tianmai dragon chi, and he took his full blow with his bare hands. The man fought hard with Long Chen, and was so shocked that his blood surged. With a roar, he turned the Vajra pestle to kill Long Chen again. Puff! As a result, just as he made a move, Long Chen suddenly disappeared. Suddenly, a brick was patted on the back of his mind, and his head was smashed open. The 4 dragon energy of the sky veins were directly scattered, and he fell limply to the ground, not knowing whether he was dead or alive. Long Chen's goal is to find out the situation here. How can he bother with them? After knocking down the opponent with a slab of bricks, he quickly flew towards the center of the barrier. Inside the barrier, there is a vast and boundless world, with endless meteors flying and the sound of screams. Puff, puff! Countless strong men were directly smashed into powder by the terrifying meteor. However, knowing that there were countless dangers, the people still rushed forward one after another. And at the core of the barrier, countless people fought fiercely, ripples agitated, ripples tore through the void, and Tianmai dragon energy collided wildly, as if they were in the midst of annihilation. It's so lively there must be a treasure. Seeing such a fierce battle, Long Chen couldn't help being elated, and accelerated forward. Some strong men saw Long Chen along the way, but no one paid any attention to them. Everyone was rushing to the core area desperately, while avoiding the terrifying meteor. Boom! With a shocking explosion, Long Chen saw a giant with a height of several feet, holding a huge shield, rushing forward unscrupulously, but was hit by a meteor, and the shield and the person were blasted together. Currently used, the app with the most complete and best listening sounds, integrated with 4 speech synthesis engines, over 100 kinds of timbres, and an artifact that supports offline reading, Huanyuan app. Org Source app. Seeing this scene, Long Chen couldn't help but gasp. The meteor's power was too strong. The most frightening thing is that these meteors dragged their long tails and dashed back and forth in the void. Whoever was unlucky would be hit by it. The big man holding the giant shield was a heavenly sage of the 4 meridians with astonishing blood, but he was instantly killed. And the moment he was smashed, the speed of the meteor dropped slightly, and Long Chen saw a creature hidden in a ball of light. Because the speed was too fast, Long Chen could only see a blurry figure, but that figure made Long Chen stunned. He could hardly believe his eyes. That shadow turned out to be a rabbit. The rabbit seemed to be the most ineffective creature in the world. How could it have such terrifying power? A group of idiots are fighting for treasure with the great son of Brahma. Don't you want to live? Boom! At this moment, there was a shocking explosion, and the violent divine power formed a sun-like brilliance. Immediately afterwards, countless figures were sent flying by the divine brilliance. In the divine brilliance, Long Chen saw Brahma holding a silver long sword, opening the destiny roulette, and the 6 celestial dragons flowing around him, just like a god descending into the world. And under his feet, there was another enchantment. In that enchantment, Long Chen saw a withered big tree. When he saw the big tree, Long Chen's heart beat wildly. Tree of the Moon, that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.